Hi everyone, I think we're online, but Bree wasn't sure. Great. Well, it's Gentlemen Strangers time, and you know what that means. Trash Crew, Gentlemen Strangers. Welcome to episode 3, the Adoneum Affair. We're gonna get right into it, but first of all, something that I don't think we've actually said on this channel for a long time, because it's been a long time since Sunny Kitty was gaming with us. But did you know you can influence the outcome of our story through helps and hinders? There are a number of ways that you can help and hinder us. The simplest way is to simply hang out with us. You will accrue trash bags, and you can spend trash bags on minor helps or hinders. Just let us know whether you're helping or hindering, and either I will read the chat and see it, or Bree will tell me about it. And I will do the help and hinder. If you don't have the trash bags and want to really help or hinder, or you want to do a stronger, a moderate or major help or hinder, then you can send us real life human cash currency monies. And you can do that with the link below the stream. Hinders are precisely 1 penny more expensive, both so that we know whether it's a help or hinder, and also so that we can price out hindering. Even though I personally endorse hindering in all of its forms and highly encourage you spending that extra penny. If you want to do a major hinder, then that obviously won't happen right away. What will happen is I will secretly reach out to you in the time between sessions, and you and I will talk. And we will find a way to major help or major hinder the party, because a major is something that will have an impact on the whole campaign going forward. So it's a pretty big deal. Without further ado, is there any ado further? I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's keeping happy, safe, and healthy in these strange times that we live in. But let's go to even stranger times, Victorian London times.
Just before we go into Victorian London times, since you said anything else and then I spoke and then I think I was muted. If you are at all interested in sign-ups for Trash Podcasting, then there is a Google form at our pinned tweet over on Twitter, and I'm doing the admin for that right now. So now could never be a better time than to sign up for it. You just need a microphone and some time to record and a plucky attitude, and everything else is grand. I hadn't prepared a pitch for this, but I'm going to hand back to Sable now. But thank you.
But yes, you should sign up for some cool podcasts that Praxis is arranging. Other ways that you can get involved. We are running some sessions of Among Us in midweek. Many of your favorite trash people will be appearing in it. Some of your least favorite trash people will be appearing in it, and we'll be trying to deceive and murder one another, more or less as usual, but this time with an actual game to support that. Other ways you can get involved are by signing up on our Patreon. We are perilously close to getting to a new Patreon goal where we can do exciting things like save up for paying our GMs and opening a merch store and all sorts of exciting stuff like that. And that is we're You Crew on Patreon, so please do consider that. It would be amazing, and you get all sorts of lovely stuff for it. You get lovely stuff like shout outs, obviously, and merch, and helps and hinders for free. So take a look at that. It's all good fun, but don't take a look at anything yet.
It just helps.
Well, don't take a look at anything yet, because we are going back to Victorian London. It is the early evening, and 4 of the gentlemen strangers, Messrs. Slide, Spider, Shadow, and Cutter, are gathered in the basement of the Millennium Club. Spider, Shadow, and Cutter having answered summons from the mysterious crows that Mr. Slide sent out a few hours prior. Mr. Slide, Kath doesn't know why Mr. Slide has called for this meeting. So let's flash back and find out, shall we?
I'm excited.
Yes. So this is, I think, is it earlier in the same day? No, I think it's a couple of days ago. So we are not going to focus on Mr. Slide. Instead, we're going to focus on Mr. Christopher Wick, a name that Mr. Slide goes by 23 hours out of every day. And the Honourable Christopher Wick among many of the charitable causes and patronages that he and his family are nebulously part of, you are on the board of the Adoneum Theatre on Shaftesbury Avenue, and it's been a turbulent few years for the Adoneum. There was a fire, no one died, but the theatre was gutted. And the thing about the theatre is it's not really a profitable enterprise necessarily, but you do rely on patrons. And what you realized was that to get any more than treading water, you needed a big patron. And so you approached the then recently widowed Lady Woodbridge. And Lady Woodbridge's husband, the Earl of Woodbridge, had left her a considerable fortune, and she's a big believer in the arts. And so she came on board with plenty of cash, and her stipulation was, okay, but you're not just rebuilding the theatre, you're upgrading the theatre. I want electricity. I want to bring culture to the masses. So although she doesn't officially own or have any control over the theatre, the board knows where its bread is buttered. And so you began the renovations and the upgrades, and you've had a dedicated generator built in the basement. You've got electric lights being installed and all this. And in a month or so, you're due to open. And you've decided to begin with a month-long run of the Tempest. And it's a ripping yarn. It involves tension, deception, comedy, the strange relationship between Prospero and name any other character, and you have managed, after some negotiation, to acquire for your lead role a famous actor called Sir Arthur Higg, and that's great because that means that you're likely to fill up those expensive box seats and so forth. But at the board meeting, a problem is revealed. The director of the play informs you that Sir Arthur has walked off the production. The board's assembled, and you've got your very stern chairman standing there with his arms folded as Herbert Carson, the director, says, yeah, he refuses to perform until certain issues are resolved.
Such as?
Well, usual actor things. I'm sure we can find someone else to fill the role.
It's Sir Arthur Higg. Who else are we going to bring in at this stage who would have that same prestige? Do you have anyone waiting in the wings?
Well, no one is prominent.
Metaphorical.
No one is prominent, Mr. Wick. But look, we have to make do. The show must go on, and we can't cave to the irrational demands of players, can we?
What irrational demands?
He's made up some claims about such and such problems. Personally, and this is just my opinion, it's these electricals. Okay, I've been in the theatre for 20 years. Okay, I've had my share of actor meltdowns. I know that they are a pretentious and vain folk. And I know that they have their needs, they have their tantrums, their little personal dramas. I understand that. But I've never experienced a man quite so addled. And I think it's all these vapors, from the electrics. I don't know, the vapors in the pipes that run the electrics, I assume we're all breathing them in. And God only knows what that does to a brain,
What did he say?
He said something about a phantom.
Really?
And he ran off.
He said something about a phantom and then ran off.
Well, he didn't. Well, he claimed he saw some Googles or something or other. I'm just saying, if we've got someone who's been poisoned by electric vapors, we should get someone who isn't. At this point, Lady Woodbridge goes, ahem.
Your ladyship, please.
Our electricity is being managed by one of the brightest minds there is. No doubt Sir Arthur predicts the success of our run and wishes a larger share of its profits. I'm sure there's no addling going on. Electricity is quite safe, I've been assured. It is the thing of the future. We are perilously close to the 20th century. We cannot afford to be so superstitious about things. Mr. Wick, you led the negotiation with Sir Arthur regarding his fee. If indeed he is trying to squeeze us, perhaps you could speak to him, try to reason with him.
I think that I think I agree with you entirely, your ladyship. If nothing else, we can't do anything about this current electrical situation. We can't move back. It's unacceptable. Our names must be the theatre name must be in lights. We have to stand out from all of the other riffraff coming around from Shaftesbury. But I think maybe if we offer him something of a percentage of the profits, we might be able to incur a little bit more encouragement out of the man. Then he has a motivation in its success.
I believe we all trust you to broker a reasonable deal, Mr. Slide. But I made certain promises that my investment in the theatre would allow it to become profitable. Anything that you negotiate, I would appreciate if you would let me know. I will make sure the shortfall is covered out of my personal finances rather than those of the theatre. We cannot afford to have anything unbalance the books, can we?
As you say, your ladyship, I will see what the matter is. I'm sure that this has all been some unfortunate misunderstanding, frankly. But this show will go ahead with Sir Arthur.
Well, very well. Was there anything else, Mr. Carson? No, ladyship.
Oh,
I've just
there's
got
not
one more thing to say. Electricity, it'll all end in tears. And he walks off, chuntering about electricity.
Well,
Unless you stop him, obviously.
No, it's for disputes between Carson and Sir Arthur. Then, frankly, one of them has a name which is going to draw in crowds, and one of them doesn't.
Lady Woodbridge actually finds that remark a little amusing. yes, directors are somewhat more easy to come by, but we shall try to keep both of them if we can.
Oh, I agree entirely. I'm just thinking the Tempest is going to be magnificent, but I wish we could have got Arthur Sullivan to agree to get involved with something a bit more lighthearted. However, that's my own personal tastes. I will speak with Sir Arthur, of course, your ladyship, and the matter will be resolved shortly.
The meeting breaks up, and Lady Woodbridge will give you Sir Arthur's address. So you go to you make an appointment with Sir Arthur. You actually have dealt with him before. He's actually a pretty straight. This is quite surprising from him. He's a pretty straightforward person. You actually managed to sort of get his presence at a bit of a bargain, with the silent understanding that he would be considered first for any prominent roles with the theatre in the future, but nothing irregular for the West End at all. So you go to his house. He's not a greedy man, by and large. He's done very well for himself. He lives alone and comfortably. And you're not necessarily friends, but certainly you got to the point where he was calling you Christopher, because you were so, you met so regularly. So he's actually quite pleased to see you, and he lets you into his well appointed but not palatial flat, and pours you a glass of sherry. Do make yourself comfortable, Christopher.
Thank you, Sir Arthur. That I shall. You're always the consummate host.
Your health, sir.
And to yours, sir.
That's rather good. Now I know why you're here. I know why you're here. You've no doubt heard that I've decided to discontinue my relationship with your production. A regrettable but necessary decision, Christopher. Regrettable but necessary.
Yes, Carson did give me, well, Carson's version of events, and
He's a fine director, but rather impatient. He doesn't appreciate the volume of the talent he's working with. I speak not only of myself, of course. The whole cast has been doing sterling work.
I agree from everything that I've heard. However, it would be remiss of me to not hear what your problems were, Sir Arthur.
I suppose I owe you frankness. I've not held anything back, not that I was listened to or believed, in the most part. Now, you know me. I know that we thespians are known for our odd ways, our strange superstitions and traditions, but I'm a practical man at heart. Indeed, though I am ignorant of the principles that underlie the modern sciences, I marvel at their accomplishments, and I admit I marveled at the wonders brought about by the ingenuity of that American fellow. Never has any Prospero stood upon the blasted bluff and called to the elements to be answered by lightning itself. And indeed, once it is done, the marvel will be repeated so often it will become trite, but I will always have been the first, and my name will be exalted. And what actor could not dream of sitting beside the bard himself in heaven and being thanked for bringing Prosper to life so greatly? But I cannot, Christopher. I have seen the dreadful truth. Heaven is a distant thing, you see. Our souls may not be blessed, they may be cursed. I was warned about the noise of the infernal machine. I was warned about the bright light. I closed my eyes when I delivered the fateful line, but I was not warned or believed about what I would see when I opened them again. The stage, you see, was filled with players. Not of our cast, Christopher, nor of our company. They were gone in a moment, but I saw them as clearly as I see you now, pale and wreathed in the flicker of the artificial storm above me, their faces a sea of terror and pain. You will think me mad, Christopher, when I say I'm certain of this fine sherry that we're enjoying, that the Adoneum is haunted. I admit my terror was great after explaining to everyone what I'd seen, and found myself, for the most part, unregarded. I fled. After I was out in the daylight, I felt immediately ashamed about my cowardice. But when I came back here and sought comfort in this decanter, I found not only comfort but reason. What does it say of human existence, that a soul can be trapped in a place like that? That is not rest. That is not resurrection. I do not know if all theatre is a damning thing, or if the Adoneum is afflicted with some curse. And I do know how ridiculous these words are, Christopher. I know what you must think of a man who says these things in earnest. But I promise you this, sir. Unless and until I am convinced that I and my fellow players are safe, I shall not tread the boards of the Adoneum again. And it is my moral duty to encourage my fellow actors likewise to refuse the role. I'm sorry, but I would not inflict the things I have seen on anyone. On anyone, sir! Another?
Oh, yes, why not?
Marvelous. Shall I see if I can find us some cake?
Oh, by all means. However, Sir Arthur, I must assure you, I am a well-travelled man. In service to the Queen and country, I have gone to the world's four corners. I have seen things difficult to believe. And it would be remiss of me, as someone so... The Adoneum is very dear to my heart, and thus I must take your account seriously, sir.
Really?
It's worthy, at the very least, of serious scrutiny and investigation.
I'm surprised. I thought you were a rather, well, I don't know the word for it. I thought you were a man of material things, finance and so forth. It never occurred to me you might have such a robust constitution.
Well, finances can be awful. Finances, sir, are there to fuel the things that matter in life. They are not the end.
No. I see. I knew from our dealings in the past, of course, that you were passionate about the arts, and not merely as a very few people get on the board of a theatre if they want to become rich from it.
I will give the matter all of my attention and all of my efforts, and if I can return to you with, at the very least, a robust explanation of everything that I have found, if not that the matter has been resolved.
I found some drop scones. Would you like a drop scone?
Yes, I'd love a drop scone. Then if I cannot, I would like some cream would be, please, rather than the butter, just cream, please. If I cannot find you some solution to your satisfaction, then I will accept your resignation without any further obstacle or objections.
If you accept my withdrawal from the project, you must also accept my sincere regret at having to do so. You know, I expressed my shock and told my story exactly as I've told it to you, to the director, to the other members of the cast, to all of the various theatre technicians and so forth. There was only one person who even listened to me without putting on that expression, you know. Oh no, he has gone off the rocker, you know. And it was very disheartening, I must confess.
Who listened, sir?
Oh, you know, that New Yorker of Lady Woodbridge's, the electrician.
Fascinating.
I described what I saw, and he did say that there might have been, what did he call them? After images, that the brightness of the light might dazzle my eyes and make me see shadows. Now, I said to him there and then, these were not the silhouettes one gets in front of one's eyes when one stares at a candle flame. I saw people with faces. And for a moment, I swear to you, he looked as though he knew what I meant. But by then, everyone was clamoring at me that I was mistaken or mad. In frustration and still my continued terror, that was when I took my moment to flee.
No, I understand. I mean, these American. What is his name? The American. He's the fellow with.
Kaplan. Kaplan's the man's name.
Kaplan,
Not quite
yes.
sure of his given name.
Kaplan. Yes. Well, I suppose he would know more about what things happen with electricity. I will speak with him. I will look into the matter, Sir Arthur, and I will bring you my assurances of resolution or problem.
You do me a service, sir. Nothing would give me greater pleasure than to feel it was safe to return and to give Prospero his greatest representation in all of history.
Exactly. Well, this has been delightful, Sir Arthur.
Yes, of course. Well, I look forward to hearing of your resolution.
Quite. Then I shall bid you good day and be back to you as soon as is possible.
Good day to you, sir. And good luck.
Thank you. I leave. I have a scone and I leave.
Yes, it's a rock cake. It's dry and not necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world. And it would have paired better with a nice cup of tea, but there we go. So two snifters of sherry and a rock cake in, you head out into the early afternoon to the and I think I think this is where you decide you want the help of the strangers before
Yes.
you go and see Mr. Kaplan, because you might want to go and see the Kaplan as yourself or the strangers.
I mean, Kaplan might be like a friggin' ghost summoner at this point. So
Right,
let's get back up.
And that is unless Kath tells me otherwise, that is the account I'm assuming that Mr. Slide gives.
And the whole thing with additional bits of Mr. Slide expressing that whilst the Tempest is all very well and good and Shakespeare's all very well and good, he would like something a little bit more modern. But this is the play that they've gone for. And aside from those regular deviations, that's the story he gives.
That is a shame. I was looking forward to seeing Sir Arthur. I loved his turn as King Lear.
Well, if we resolve this matter, then he'll be back.
Right, yes, quite.
So we're thinking there's ghosts then, right?
He thinks there are ghosts, and the American might know something about this.
Are Americans known for being particularly superstitious?
No, but
Not
if
really.
brought the electricity, he's outfitted the Adoneum with all of the necessary electricals, and seemed to think there was something to Sir Arthur's story.
Well, I mean, if he's added anything to the electricals that would help with the sort of sleight of hand and smoke and mirrors that you'd need to put fake ghosts on the stage, then he's exactly the sort of person we need to talk to.
Yes, but there aren't any ghosts in the Tempest.
No, but if he was trying to make everyone think that the place was haunted so that it couldn't put something on, which would probably be some kind of, financial reasoning?
Or it's actually haunted.
Yes.
I mean, there is also that, which would be bad.
In the event...
That's why I'm calling you all. I thought it was just a bit of smoke and mirrors, I'd be making
Mr.
sure this
Sli-
is Russell out result easily.
And Mr. Slide, here we thought that you'd come because you valued Mr. Shadow's performances as a theatre critic.
Well, once you see it, you must tell me what you think about Caliban, Mr. Shadow. So,
Well, depends how he's done, isn't it?
you'll have to see. So, we
I-
may need...
I have one question. You think this is ghosts?
Yes.
How would you fight a ghost?
Oh, I don't know.
Fireworks.
That's the only thing I'm good at, and I'm not so sure I could.
No. Now, often there are great narratives of times that people have faced matters of ghostly proportions, and often it is not a question of fighting, but a question of finding out what the ghost wants.
Well, my vote's still for hoping that Mr. Electrician Man has added some stuff he shouldn't be adding, which would be easy enough to sort.
Yes. Well, Slide, you are the one who brought us to the attention of this terrible situation. Do you have a means of progressing that you would rather we perform, or are we to descend upon this poor Mr. Kaplan en masse?
Well, I think that a certain amount of discretion is going to be necessary because, frankly, we don't want to actually publicly throw out to all of London that the Adoneum is haunted. That would be very bad for business. And this Kaplan may be something of a ne'er-do-well, so I suggest we approach him discreetly, and it may be best done with a certain amount of our own smoke and mirrors, see what he knows, possibly scare him a little bit, because he's not going to just, if I go along and ask him nicely, he's not going to be, yes, I've brought forth ghosts from hell itself into the Adoneum. So I recommend a little bit of theatricality. See what he says, and then take it from there. And then we will need to venture forth into the Adoneum and resolve the matter, depending upon what he has to say for himself.
Sounds reasonable
Yes.
to me.
So, smoke and mirrors, theatricality, getting down to business with Mr. Kaplan. Where are we to find him? Do you know?
Do I know?
There are so many ways you could find out where Kaplan lives. So you know that Lady Woodbridge's father was a bit of a gentleman scientist, and she's always taken an interest. So she takes on young scientists who didn't have the advantage of an Eton education, and helps them along. So it's not difficult for you to find out. He's got a flat somewhere in a poorer part of West End.
Listen, Eton is for the pretentious. That's just, they're not good Harrow boys. So,
No, they're not good Harrow boys. That's true. But well, he's American apart from anything else. But he wouldn't have gone to Oxford. Let's put it that way.
The
yes,
shade
so I confirmed
in
that he
this
can find
game
him.
so far, I can't.
No,
You know full well that when it's a game with Mr. Spider and Mr. Slide, there's going to be sass because you've let Kath and I play Victorian gentlemen. And why would we do that unless we can be incredibly snotty?
It's like
It's
we're
fine,
growing a grove of palm trees over here. Like
Me and my out of character theatre degree will deal with Izzy later.
It's not my fault Shadow doesn't know anything about anything.
I would use electrically manifested apparitions to play Ariel. I mean, that seems like something that's reasonable.
Just wanted some Ghost and Sullivan.
I literally went to the next room to get my Oxford bound Shakespeare's so that I could cite official sources.
So what's the plan then? Are you going to go as the strangers to his flat and?
I think that is our recon plan.
Bookie's book.
I say we try to scare the shit out of him, Batman style.
I'm good at that.
Yep.
Perhaps, gentlemen, if that is happening, I will accompany you, but I shall wait with the cab.
Sounds sense. I'm sure you can be terrifying and spooky if you wanted to be, Mr. Spider.
Mr. Shadow, although I appreciate tremendously your confidence in me, I was thinking more in case he should try and make a break for it.
Very sensible.
Furthermore, I believe that intimidation when it comes with intimidation, you can have a lot of people or few people, but there is a sort of middle ground where you have too many cooks.
Agreed.
An army of
Fair
1,000 is intimidating. 3 serious men is intimidating. A 4th just adds a lack of nuance to the circumstances. Plus, I can carry on with my paperwork whilst I'm in the cab.
So I encourage Mr. Carter to do the bulk, I say, of the questioning. I can steer matters if I think he's getting out of hand. But yes, what have you done? What's in the electricals? Why are there ghosts here? What do you know? Shaky, shaky.
Sounds like a good plan.
I'm sure you're up to it. Listen, if Mr. Shadow can help get us in the dark, then that's so much the better, and he's going to be absolutely horrified.
Mr. Slide,
Yes.
Well, forgive me, I am not in any way prying into your personal life, but from what I've been able to glean from our conversation, that you have some financial hand in the future of the Adoneum.
I have an interest, certainly.
Is there a potential that this gentleman has met you?
There is a potential, but I wouldn't, not to the extent where I'm sure that darkness and masks will not suffice.
Yeah, of course. Simply speak as little as possible as Mr. Adoneum and much more as Mr. Slide.
Yes, I'm not going to be like this when I'm trying to scare him in the dark, certainly. But yes, no, I appreciate the thought of that, Mr. Spider, and it is certainly why I do not want to try to coax the information out of him with buttered words. That may be dangerous.
So you always struck me as more of a clotted cream type.
I do prefer the cream.
So you have been introduced to Mr. Kaplan, but you suspect he was meeting a lot of people who look and sound a lot like you, and he was the only American in the room, so you imagine he'd be more distinctive to you than you to him. And that is what helps you to recognize as the cab pulls up close to his apartment that he comes out of the flat building and gets into a hansom cab himself.
Oh, that's him. That's him. Driver, we should follow.
Right, you are.
Yes.
And you trot on at a discreet distance. And it becomes very clear he is heading to the theatre.
Ah.
He goes round to one of the side roads where you know that the service entrance to the basement is where all of the generator is and so forth.
Is this an unusual time of night for him to be doing this?
It might be, unless there were a problem with the electrics that needed urgently fixing.
Right, okay, I was just trying to check our own time of day timeline kind of thing.
So,
Mr. Slide, are there likely to be others in the theatre?
It's quite late. There may be a few, but I can't imagine there's any particular. You know what it's like at the crunch time, but there can't be that many.
Once again, I may well have an explore.
Yes, certainly. I think that that may be possible. I'm improving on this crab GM, so please correct me if my wild guesses are wrong.
It is that uncanny point between early evening and actually being nighttime. There could very well be people. There could very well be people like cleaners. There's still bits of it. This whole room is being painted.
Mm-hmm.
This is a theatre. It is going to be right up to the wire. People are going to walk in on a pristine theatre that was not pristine an hour ago. So yeah, you there could well be people you would suspect otherwise, but
okay, so it's probably empty.
Probably in all.
Okay, right. Yes. So
certainly anyone who was there in any capacity that would put them there this late at night, if Mr. Spiders simply said, "Don't mind me, I'm on the board," they wouldn't look twice.
Exactly. Just look respectable and like you know what you're doing, and the emotional equivalent of carrying a clipboard, and you're fine.
You mean
You're
this suit?
well dressed.
Emotional clipboard.
This suit is my emotional clipboard.
Absolutely. So it's your choice. You have a you have a key that opens both the stage door and the service entrance. It's up to you.
I say we follow him in direct.
It's a little suspicious that. Do we see like Mr. Sly just pull out a whole set of keys and go directly into?
Yes. So I have a key for the service entrance, so we can follow him in direct.
I'm gonna. Should I go first?
Yes. Just in case, who knows what's on the other side?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you open the door. It's a narrow door next to a sort of a rather clanky old shutter. You do get carts coming around here with various supplies and so forth. But you open the sort of the door by the side of it. There's a kind of a low kind of grumbling sound, and there's a bit of smoke in the air. And you think you can hear someone singing.
What are they singing?
I don't know what songs Americans sing.
Okay, that's fair.
Say, can you? I don't know what songs Americans sing when they're bored. But he sings a song about being a Yankee or something. I don't know.
You can sing Yankee Doodle.
He's singing either about being a Yankee or about not being a Yankee.
Especially in '86.
We're sorry, Brie.
Yeah,
just
fine.
I don't know.
America!
Yeah, the grand old president of York. He had 10,000 French troops.
Let's not.
So American songs singing by Americans.
Yeah.
I think this is an excellent opportunity, Mr. Carter, for some startling appearances and questions.
Right, you are. I'm going in.
Oh, America.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk in. Like, other people are here, so it's not a huge. Like, we don't have to sneak.
Right, he's not paying the remote today. He is tinkering with what.
Oh, he's right there. I thought we were following him as he went on a thing. I'm sorry.
You maintained what I'm assuming was a stealthy distance from him. He seems to be trying to get a fire going in some sort of furnace or stove, some gigantic stove thing.
I'm assuming we're operating under we will step out to be seen as a mysterious trio with a Mr. Cutter who looks like they could cut. Is what Mr. Slide is anticipating as our theatricality appearance.
Yeah, I was assuming that was the plan.
So okay,
Yes.
then this is what I will do. I will go up right behind him, to that uncomfortable close distance where you're like, there's a person behind me, and so then he's gonna have to like stand up and turn around, and I will just be right there.
Okay. So yeah, he closes the small grate on the furnace, turns around and is like, "Oh God, oh forgive me. Oh, whew. I'm going to need a minute."
I don't have a minute. I need you to
Can
answer
I-
a question for me.
Certainly. Who are you?
I'm the person who heard a rumor that you are haunting the theater.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
That means you're doing something I don't approve of, and I need to know why.
Are you one of these Luddites I've heard so much about? Because I'm not putting anyone out of a job.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Why are you
Okay.
haunting the theater? I'm gonna
Do
step
you-
forward, so he has to step back towards the
Is this-
thing.
I'm working in the theater. I'm not a ghost. Is that what you mean?
Did I say you were a ghost? No, I said
You
were
asked me why
making
I was
ghosts.
haunting the theater. I'm not. I'm working in the theater. I'm the electrician,
Mhm.
Moses Kaplan. It's a pleasure. How do you do?
No, I don't take it.
Okay. I'm sorry if I've offended you somehow. I'm not completely sure we've met.
No.
If you don't mind, I've got to get the generator up and running. It's a bit of a process.
I do mind. I'm gonna step in front of it. I'm now an obstacle.
All right. What?
I've heard you are making ghosts in this theater with your electricity.
You know what electricity is?
No.
It's right. Well, that is becoming obvious to me.
Sorry, I love you.
Electricity is nothing supernatural. It's an excitation of cathodes produced by the interaction of magnetic fields with certain conductors.
Sounds like ghosts to me.
Well, it doesn't sound like ghosts to me, but ghosts don't exist, so I don't know what ghosts are. They're fairy tales, right? Children's stories.
Then why?
Are you here to beat me up for filling a theater with ghosts? I can show you what the generator does. It lights up the stage.
Then why are there reports of ghosts occurring at the time your electricals are used?
Oh, are you talking about Sir Hig? Oh, he's
Sir Arthur.
what?
It's Sir Arthur Hig, not Sir Hig. Carry on.
Well, whatever His Majesty is called, he's he had some sort of, he didn't like the noise and the lights. You know, it happens. The bright lights. He was, you know, not many actors would stand on stage and do what he did. By the way, he's a very brave man up to a point. But I warned him about the bright lights that might kind of, you know, when you look at a candle flame or a lamp or something and you end up with shadows behind your eyes, that kind of thing. It's nothing remarkable. It's a function of light and extreme noise.
Can I ask the DM a question? There's no GM. Are the lights on now, or he was about to turn them on?
There are some gas lamps lit.
Okay.
Oil lamps, sorry, lit. But he hasn't. The generator isn't actually on yet.
I suggest you turn it on.
That is what I was doing. Did you come here to threaten me into doing a thing I was already doing?
Yes.
I think we should see this for ourselves.
Oh, then you are in for a treat. I suggest you go on stage, however. It looks much better there. Right, okay.
Mr. Carter, I'm happy to proceed to the stage.
There, we've got
I'll
a
watch
nice
your back.
I could go.
turning.
If you guys
Okay.
want to keep an eye on him, I could go.
I mean, Mr. Spider's already up top, if that's...
Okay. I can take you to the stage if you'd like. The generator will take a few minutes to...
Oh, we'll go.
I'm still gonna stand behind them now at this point. This ghost man is not getting away from me with his spooky electricity.
Right.
I think he's innocent. Whoops.
Me too.
Would anyone like...
I've made a mistake.
Would anyone like to be Prospero? I can show you the full effect if you'd like. You just need to put on a pair of rubber boots.
Yes, I think that might be useful to see.
If you look in that cabinet there's some pairs of rubber boots in various sizes. Pick whatever suits you. Oh, this is very exciting. I've only shown this to a select number of people.
I'm gonna do this. Walking into the
and that was how Mr. Slide volunteered to be executed on stage by a demon or whatever.
But it's exciting.
Well, 1 down, 3 to go. Who's next?
I'm happy to just slide back into the party, no pun intended. But has Mr. Spider found anything upstairs when there isn't so many people around?
There is no one else in the theatre. All the offices and so forth are locked.
Yeah, Mr. Spider doesn't want to talk to people. He wants to explore the place in case there's like signs of fake haunting or signs of ghost activity or any shit like that.
So you've been to theatres before, and there are some things that are different about this one. You don't know how to picture what electrical stage lights look like, but you can see from one of the balconies there's a gantry where they seem to be hanging from, with all sorts of strange cabling coming off them and so forth. Above the stage there seems to be some sort of chicken wire like net.
That sounds so suspicious.
Like, I think Mr. Spider is genuinely interested and is looking at specifically like investigating what he expects versus like the lighting. Like, we, the gentlemen strangers, have decided there's probably ghosts, but like he is looking to see for things out of the ordinary as far as he's concerned, and is genuinely just having a sort of poke about because this is all fascinating. And if anything seems out of place or there's any residue or...
It's a mostly rebuilt, not quite yet fully restored theatre with some odd electronics in it, but they're not electronics, they're electricals, but they are beyond your ken as far as I know. They're just cables and a few breakers here and there.
Oh, brave new world. Gentlemen.
Mr. Spider, we intend to see what this...
Moses Catlin, how do you do?
Mr. Spider, charmed.
That's quite a name. Well done. I've just turned on the generator. I'm going to show you all what we've been working on over here.
I detect a faint buzzing of some sort. Is that the electrics, or is that the...
Oh, you're very perceptive. Yes, that is the... there's a certain... energetic effect when the net is excited. I have minimized the sound. Believe me, when the first iteration of this was so loud the actors couldn't hear themselves talk. Obviously, that's not
of
good.
course. However, though, you have selected the optimum play for the use of this this equipment, the Tempest, of course.
Yeah.
Equipment will be running throughout scenes of great tension. The storm itself, the electricity could represent the rage of Prospero.
Yes, I'm going to get to wear the boots and see the electricity with the lightning happen.
The famous Prospero.
Well,
boots?
if the three of you will take whatever seats you fancy in the stalls, Mr.
Slide,
was it?
Yes.
Well, right. If you join me here.
Mr. Spider is going to lean in just before, as he's pulling them on to go and stand at the stage, and go, Mr. Slide, those are just rubber galoshes.
Yes, they're going to protect me from the lightning.
They're very thick-soled rubber galoshes. And you see, and there's a podium where you're instructed to stand, and leaning up against it, there's a wizard's staff, which sort of, it's got a rubber handle and a sort of a metal ball on top. If you would hold this aloft and, you know.
Of course.
Okay. he goes backstage and throws a switch, and the stage lights up as above you. Sparks crackle across the net. It's like being in the weirdest lightning storm you've ever seen. And he says, "Raise the staff, Mr. Slide."
I do so. It's
Raise
time
the staff dramatically, and it is struck by lightning instantly, and the light and sound fills the stage. Wow, that worked perfectly. Okay, safe breakers off, and the sound shuts down. That's it. What did you think? The audience is going to love it, right?
You see anything, Mr. Slide?
Do I see anything?
It's very bright.
And then in which case, Mr. Slide has not even thought about ghosts because that was awesome. That's fascinating, Mr. Kaplan.
The Electric Theatre, the thing of the future. Mrs. Jesus Christ, Lady Woodbridge is insistent upon it.
Oh my, this is going... Yes, very impressive work. I don't see any ghosts.
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to see ghosts, but I'm glad you don't.
So why is it that the actor did?
Like I said, I'm. You would have to ask him.
Yeah, I suppose we would.
As I told him at the time, you get such an after image. I mean, ask Mr. Slide. It's dazzling, right? You've got
I can't really see any of you.
phantoms flashing in front of your eyes, but of course they're not real.
Yes,
They're
but
just the shadows of the theater.
But Mr. Kaplan, you forgive me. And Mr. Spider does the thing where he gets out his notebook because he is a meticulous notemaker and goes, I believe that Sir Arthur was quite insistent that he saw detailed faces. Dazzlement of any sort makes it difficult to make out fine detail of any variety. Not simply that he saw outlines or distinctive shapes, but faces. Mr. Slide, could you confirm for us? Can you see my face?
Not in the slightest, Mr. Spider.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, what about Mr. Kaplan's face, who was not wearing a mask?
He's nothing but a hazy outline.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that Sir Arthur had his eyes closed at the moment of the lightning strike, as he was briefed to do, and would have had slightly clearer vision. As for why he was so sure he saw someone on stage, I was down in the generator room at the time, so I can't tell you if there was anyone on stage with him, although I've heard later that there were not.
Was he alone up in the theatre at the time?
No. There were various members of the cast rehearsing here and there, and the director, of course, was around. He wasn't alone. There were some of my technicians making sure the various breakers and so forth were safe.
You say he wasn't alone, Mr. Kaplan. However, it seems to me quite without doubt that of all of the ladies and gentlemen who I am sure go into the production of such great theatre, that there is only one man here who did not think Sir Arthur was some sort of raving lunatic.
No. I am well aware of the... Let me try and demonstrate something else. Mr. Slide, if you lay the staff down on the floor once again, there's something else I'd like to demonstrate, if you don't mind.
By all means.
Suspicious. I'm still following him at an uncomfortable distance.
Okay, he throws another switch and the lightning grid above you turns back on. Now let's say we wanted a quiet scene. There's no storm in the sky. There's no flashing lights, no magical activity currently on stage. I can't turn the device off altogether. It takes too long to warm back up. But I can lower the Never mind. I can... And he pulls down a handle, and the crackling above you stops. But you feel kind of weird and kind of skin crawl. You can feel the finer hairs on the back of your neck standing up. You feel like you might just ever so slightly be able to taste metal in your mouth. It's not particularly pleasant, is it?
No.
I'll shut it off. all life is what we in the electrical field call galvanic. We are excited by electrical impulses. And electrical fields can produce sensations. I'm not suggesting for a moment that Sir Arthur was insane. Far be it for me to say such a thing. He seemed quite coherent to me when he came down to the generator room after the incident, for example. And although the conclusions he'd reached were not the conclusions a scientific mind would have reached, I do not believe that he was deluded or insane. But I put it to you, Mr. Slide, that you must have just experienced some of the strange sensations that I, over the last several years, have experienced while working with electricity.
And yet, you have never seen apparitions of the same quality and clarity as Sir Arthur.
Let me tell you the strangest experience I've ever had working with electricity.
Please.
As I said, in the early days of setting up the electrics for this theater, I had a rig based on a galvanic net. I'm not going to bother explaining what that is. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was loud, very loud. That buzzing sound pervaded the whole stage. The actors couldn't hear themselves talk. They couldn't hear each other talk. It was clear that that was not going to work. So I switched to something called a faradic current. Again, it doesn't matter what that is. It works. This is what we're currently using, okay? I made a model, a smaller version, just so I could test the principles, because so you see the net that's above you here. When I was running it with the galvanic net, it was more like a large mesh of thick cables, not a thin net of wires. So I needed to make sure it was going to work and be stable, because of course with thin wires, there are certain advantages, but they can burn out, like they can melt with the heat of the electricity flowing through them. Anyway, so I made a small model, I turned it on. And I wanted to make sure that it was stable and could last for a long time. I did it at a very small voltage, obviously, because it was a much smaller model, but the humming was very strange. That's the nature of a faradic current. It alternates in a very specific way. And I'll admit that although there was nothing inexplicable about it, the way the sound undulated in the echoey room I was working, it sounded a little bit like someone was talking. So while I can't explain why Sir Arthur would have seen faces particularly, I can see how some of the effects might have created the convincing impression of human presence. If I were a less grounded man, perhaps I would have thought, walking into that room, that I was hearing someone talking to me. I, of course, knew that it was simply the sound of the vibration, the electrical vibrations of the net. But I can see how someone uneducated in the ways of electricity might have misconstrued that sensory illusion as a real thing. Unfortunately, I found no way to convince Sir Arthur of that, and now he's walked.
Mr. Kaplan, how long could you leave this electrical equipment running?
Safely?
Yes.
3 hours, I would think. Plus 10 minutes to make sure the capacitor's warmed up.
And it would require constant observance.
I have emergency breakers. There's a cabinet in the auditorium, one above the lighting rig, and one down in the basement that can be thrown to shut off the generator.
Forgive me, Mr. Kaplan. Gentlemen, a word.
Popping out of the
GM.
boot.
Lovely GM. while these much more educated gentlemen than I have been having a lovely conversation about electricity that I don't really understand that much of, can Chad have been looking around the stage? They're looking for optical illusion tricks, like if you drop a fine line of sand and have a camera obscura effect going on, you can make it look like there are ghosts. That kind of shenanigans. Just checking the stage is kosher, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to let you do that without checking the action.
Oh, cool.
There isn't anything really like that.
Cool.
The only thing that might have done it, could it have done it? Unless there was some sort of smoke on the stage.
Okay.
Maybe. But there's nothing elaborate enough to do otherwise.
All right. Cool. I will join in Mr. Spider's summons then.
The conspiracy.
A conspiratoire. It seems to me that the only way we are going to be able to fully understand what has occurred here is by in some way replicating the effect that happened with Sir Arthur. This may take some time. I would suggest that we remain here for the coming hours, with or without Mr. Kaplan's help. Then perhaps even remain here further into the night without the use of galvanic assistance, should that merely have been a coincidence.
I agree entirely. At the very, very least, then it's an opportunity for me to return to Sir Arthur and insist that the matter has been thoroughly investigated.
And I leave this in your capable hands, Mr. Slide. I did not wish to speak on behalf of the group.
All right, well, I'm just going to say that we're staying here for the period. Mr. Kaplan.
Mr. Slide.
I think it would be for the best if we could leave this confident that the matter has been fully investigated, and then assurances can be made. As such, we intend to remain for the period, perhaps overnight, observing the effects of your technologies over a more prolonged period, should that cause any recreation. And thus it would probably be rather necessary for you to be here in case something goes wrong.
I don't think that's allowed.
Well,
I would need Lady Woodbridge's permission.
Really?
To do that, of course.
You're going to wake her at this time of night?
This isn't. Well, no. I would suggest you come back tomorrow.
Well, that's not going to happen. So
then I will have. You are intruders. You realize.
Well,
I will summon the police.
Perhaps then it may be best for us to, as you say, depart. We can make our own approaches to her ladyship, discuss the matter with her, and return under such circumstances, rather than putting you in that position. I understand entirely your reticence, Mr. Kaplan.
My reticence comes primarily from the fact that you barged into my workroom threateningly. That one was going to wail on me with a pipe or something, I'm sure.
No pipes.
I don't think anyone ever said anything of anything of the sort.
Heavens, gentlemen. What a poor representation we have made of ourselves. Mr. Kaplan, you must forgive us.
I must do nothing of the kind, Mr. Spider. But I must ask you to leave. And to return only with Lady Woodbridge, in person.
It's amazing how weird people get about things. Like, I mean, 5 minutes ago, here's this man, lovely, happy as Larry to have us here, wants to show off all his fancy toys. And then the moment we stop being interested in the fancy toys, out we go with never a by your leave.
This is not my theater. I can't permit you to stay here overnight. I've got work to do. And
we are intruders. Mr. Kaplan is correct.
Quite. Mr. Slide, I believe you intend to take tea with her ladyship in the coming days.
I'm sure that can be done.
I've never heard her mention of Mr. Slide.
Does she speak to you of all of her friends, Mr. Kaplan? I was not aware you and her ladyship were so well acquainted. Anyway,
My assurances, Mr. Kaplan, simply are that we will deal with this without troubling you any further. If we need anything more of you, it will be done by conversation with her ladyship. And I thank you for the time that you've given us, and we'll be out of your hair.
Ghosts?
These are accusations that have been made.
And you took them seriously? Lady Woodbridge is a woman of science, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So
then you have nothing more to worry about, Mr. Kaplan. Thank you for the demonstration. We'll be leaving.
I have a good deal to worry about.
yes, indeed. Mr. Spider saying this.
I feel I must inform her ladyship of your presence here.
If that is what you think is necessary.
It's also clear to replace the locks on the doors.
If that is what you think is necessary, although I'm sure if it comes to the conversation, then we must make it clear that you decided to demonstrate all of this very enthusiastically to complete strangers.
Oh yes, that one was looming over me.
I think that we're done here.
I'm afraid so. I'm glad you enjoyed my demonstration.
Very much.
I'm sorry I failed to summon the unrestful dead, but I think what you might be looking for is a medium.
Mr. Kaplan, you may not take this situation seriously.
No,
but I
stopped
assure
taking
you,
it seriously
sir,
that
that
one
Sir
came in and
Arthur
I was
Higg...
haunting the place.
I was speaking, sir. Sir Arthur Higg, who is one of the finest Shakespearean actors of his generation, takes this matter very seriously. And it is actors like him who ensure that theatres like this remain open. We have been summoned forth to answer these queries.
Then you can tell, Sir Arthur, there are no ghosts. He just needs to get used to the sensations of electricity. As I have. And Mr. Slide, you've now experienced the very phenomenon that was used to give drama to Sir Arthur's performance. You can verify that there were no ghosts, but there were certainly optical effects.
Oh,
If that does not convince you, I'm not sure what will. There is a principle in science called Occam's razor, Mr. Slide. I believe I've demonstrated the full capability.
Do you want to go or do you want to bore me to death, Mr. Kaplan?
I'm trying to convince you the problem you think exists does not exist.
I've already assured you this. We're leaving, and thus anything further will not be a decision made by you.
I should warn you. There is only one person on all of Earth that can operate that generator.
Mm-hmm.
So do not interfere unnecessarily, Mr. Slide.
I have no intention of...
Because I assure you, Sir Arthur is easier to replace than I am. And Lady Woodbridge knows it very well. Good night, gentlemen.
Slide, we have been dismissed.
I know.
I think for the audience's benefit, every time they said something super smart, Cutter and Shadow like locked eyes and did a, do you know what they're saying? Do you know what they're saying? No. And then like more eye rolling. That just very confused the whole time. And then we follow everyone out.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Spider gets into the cab and says, heavens, these Americans.
I know.
Love you, Bree.
It's cool. I know who we are.
It's all beaverskins and Yankee Doodle with those people.
Look,
Sir
I had
Higg.
bacon for breakfast. Leave me alone.
Sir Higg, can you imagine a man's lack of respect? We're going to just obviously have to let ourselves in later once he's gone and observe the matter ourselves.
We can't exactly operate the generator, apparently.
Listen, I'm perfectly happy to do things his way. Nevertheless, he is the king of his own private island. And it is only Prospero who can bring the Tempest.
We are not going to be able to convince her ladyship to allow us in to tinker.
Would we be able to convince Sir Arthur?
He can't do anything about it. What use is he?
Well, if he's the only one that can see the ghosts. I'm just saying.
I wonder if the electricity is perhaps some sort of false clue. The idea that the electricity happened and the ghosts happened, and the two are not necessarily connected.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, I couldn't
not-
find anything on the stage that would have caused fake ghosts to appear. So
Look, I may not have understood everything that was said, but he did mention 2 types of electricity, and we've only seen the second. What was the first? Or did I misunderstand that completely?
Yes, he said something about that. However, I'm not sure that we're going to get his assist. There's no way we're really going to get his assistance in tinkering with the generator and doing all these various different versions of things. We cannot compel him. I'm not in the business of beating a man just for being annoyingly uncooperative.
No. He had that obstinance that one expects from the colonies.
And her ladyship is not going to encourage a bunch of random masked miscreants to and tell him to cooperate with them.
we could just wait until everybody's left the theatre and then go back in.
That was my intention.
Aye.
Let's do that.
Anybody know how to summon a ghost? No?
I shall
Just
search
me
my,
then?
I shall search my archives.
All right.
But perhaps we should prepare ourselves for the eventuality that in the morning, if we remain there as long as possible, if we are discovered, we should make our exit around the back while Mr. Slide removes mask and covers for us.
Yes.
You might want to get like a change of clothing or something for that.
I had layers.
Good.
I'll be in a theatre.
True. As long as we get warning. I mean, like,
Who
wardrobes in one
doesn't-
place.
Who doesn't take their overcoat off at the theatre?
Oh, excuse me, I'm sure.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Where do you go? What do you do? Who are you?
We're
Existential
intending to do some research, if our books tell us anything, and then we want to break in overnight.
Okay.
You say break in. We have keys.
Yes, but we're still a bit on dodgy ground, really.
Yeah.
It occurs to me as well, Mr. Spider. No, I'm Mr. Spider. Heavens.
Yeah.
It occurs to me, however, Mr. Slide, should you need to smooth things out with her ladyship when Captain inevitably causes a fuss, that you simply send some gentlemen with your keys to
Yes.
explore.
I am keeping my options open depending on how this entire matter is resolved. However, because frankly, if it's fixed, I have to make up less outlandish lies. People are usually happier when matters are resolved, and thus less likely to ask questions.
Quite.
So you're returning to the Millennium Club, are you?
Mm-hmm.
And what research is it you think you're going to be doing?
I don't know, Mr. Spider does that.
I do not believe you have your occult library yet.
No,
I know where there is one, if you want one, Mr. Spider.
excuse me.
What? A library?
Yes, I know where the libraries are. In particular, what are you referring?
You wanted to research how to summon ghosts, did you not?
Well, I wished to research the phenomena. I don't think...
And I know where there's a library with lots of books about ghosts. I can read, you know.
I didn't think you were illiterate.
Where's the
Shadow.
damned library?
In the university.
Which university?
The University of London.
Of course. You might have meant Cambridge.
A bit of a distance.
Yes, but it's a better university.
It's also got a
It's
better
not
library, but that's not the
Oxford.
point.
Let's not, get ahead of ourselves, Mr. Spider.
Yes, but I'm not taking the coach all the way to Oxford.
We don't need to, because the University of London is not very far away.
And its
and
library
has a library.
discusses the summoning of ghosts.
Well, a very specific part of it does.
Is this a breaking and entering or waiting until the morning?
That depends on how good on how good terms Shadow is with one of their contacts.
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not they're there at this ungodly hour.
Midnight librarian.
I don't know, it's a university. Doesn't seem out with the realm of possibility.
The library's certainly closed. Who's your contact?
University scholar and librarian, Archimedes Blake.
Okay. Well, Mr. Blake will be at home at this hour, I would think. You're perfectly welcome to try to persuade him.
Do it.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try.
You shouldn't do. By the way, I want to say this right now. Therese Verman in the chat wants you to do it. You shouldn't do anything that he would do.
Yeah,
Oh.
if
Never mind. Don't do it.
no, Therese Verman is hoping for breaking and entering, but yes, inevitably any plan that he has a hand in any tabletop game ends as a footling comedy of errors.
I have an alternate idea for alternative research potentials, which can be done tonight.
All right.
We ask at the... I've forgotten the name of the bar.
The Aventine.
Yes, we
Yeah,
ask around at
yeah.
the Aventine. Anyone of expertise? I'm happy to dash off and do that. I'm sure that if Mr. Shadow can get the books, then Mr. Spider can get the answers.
I can do that. I would prefer to do it on my own.
If you wish to rush off and do some in the middle of the night research, then
To be realistic, research is not something you will be able to do in a sufficiently short time span.
Yeah.
Not just worth going during daylight hours and checking out a book the normal way. And
Oh.
like
Yeah.
research, you are going to find accounts of X, Y, and Z. You're going to find folklore. It's going to take a long time to pour through that. Certainly not enough to risk the heat garnered from potentially attracting attention. That's my suggestion.
No, that's a fair point that I hadn't thought of.
The problem
Research
is
does
that
take time.
the problem is that research in TV and movies takes like a minute because you get the exact book you need, you turn to the exact chapter, and you go, aha, I found it. But actually what's going to happen is you're going to be sitting there for hours going, oh, this is just boring. This is just talking about the time someone's goat turned out to be a
A
demon.
witch.
so there are going to be no books published on ghosts summoned by electricity.
No, there won't be.
Gentlemen, I was simply going to suggest that I got my analytical works of the Tempest. If it's ghosts, then clearly the thing that's caused this is not electricity, but the play itself.
Ah.
I mean, surely that's the wrong play.
Excuse me.
Tempest isn't exactly known for its use of ghosts. Magical creatures, sure, but surely you're looking for the Scottish play at that point.
It is entirely a
Possibly
play
Hamlet.
based around the idea of one man's use of the powers beyond his control in order to command nature. If electricity and ghosts
And
is
go
not
to Aventine.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Do you want to come with me,
Mr.
Mr. Cutter?
I'm
It's not
Yes.
an
Following Mr.
conflict of
Slide.
measurement. Yes, Shadow and Spider go back to the Millennium Club so that Spider can get his books, bickering all the while about Shakespeare.
And Mr. Cutter and Mr. Slide are just like, yeah, let's
Okay,
get some
I
drinks.
will concede that you can probably study the Tempest in a few hours if you know what you're looking for. Let's go with Mr. Slide and Cutter to the Aventine.
Mhm.
The Aventine is about half full, I would say. Nothing unusual going on. Mr. Hyde waves at you from behind the bar. Your usual table, of course, is
Mhm.
vacant.
Excellent. Wait for.
Gentlemen, can I get you a drink?
Oh yes, please. Just something a little light, as we need have a little business here tonight. We were hoping you could help us with.
Oh,
It's
I'll
light.
take a seat. I'll bring something over.
Oh, wonderful. I get to meet some interesting people at the very least, Mr. Carter.
I'm starting to like
One
it
of
here.
the bar staff brings you a decanter and a couple of bits and pieces, a couple of glasses, and Mr. Hyde's right behind. And may I join you?
Oh, please.
So,
We are looking for a little assistance and expertise, and think that you may know exactly who within this establishment may be able and perhaps willing to give us their time and let's pick their brains. Ghosts, Mr. Hyde.
As in...
We possibly have some ghosts who need to be shuffled along to not be ghosting.
Are you... Is this a prank?
No.
I don't get it.
Anyone involved in, seances, that sort of thing, who you might know from this area?
Like spiritualists?
Yes, that sort of thing, I suppose.
I don't really know any spiritualists.
None in the odd people and interesting, fascinating people who lurk around this establishment?
I don't know who's been telling you ghost stories, but I wouldn't believe everything you hear. Ghosts are a bit of a fanciful, even for London. Ghosts are a bit of a, what you might call a mythological element.
Yes, but there are many people who believe these things, and really that's what we're interested in.
I don't know anyone I respect you, Mr. Slide, and I would not put you in contact with anyone who told me with a straight face that they'd seen a ghost. There is, and I speak as someone who's heard many a tale I've believed and seen many a strange thing. There is no such thing as ghosts, and you're probably better off finding another answer to your problem. There's such a thing as wizards, of course, and that might be more reasonable.
Then those who may be able to trick the senses and the perceptions.
I know a few. I know a few people who have some experience with magical trickery and so forth. Yeah, maybe.
Well, then that may be an explanation for what has been reported to us. We are looking for someone who may point us in the right direction of.
Right. All right. I think I know what people. Where can I reach you?
Oh, well, we can pop back here at some point, no doubt. But, or to the, if you send a runner to the Millennium Club.
All right, give me a couple of nights. I'll find something for you. No problem.
Thank you.
Before, he's still sitting here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to just ask him, how's your night been?
Oh, well, as busy as ever. Thank you for asking. How about you?
Weird. No, that's not something English people say. They're strange.
Well, no doubt, no doubt.
This is good. Thanks.
Say weird.
Do you though? Not more than you say strange.
I think strange and curious are much more weird in this instance. Yes. Look, chat. Something. Just because it's a setting where there's some weird stuff doesn't mean there's all the weird stuff. Some things are still fictional.
No, of course, but in a world where we are like supernatural hunters, going, how we hunt the supernatural? Yes. Ghosts? No, you're insane.
Look, I just wanted to know how Mr. Hyde is doing, and then y'all are going off.
I was briefly like, did I forget?
Wizards.
Is the Aventine actually not like a magical place? Is it just like a weird place?
It's got weird stuff happening. People do shady stuff.
I'm just saying, maybe it tells you something.
Yes, it does tell us something, but his reaction was surprisingly stringent.
No pun intended to the setting, but I feel intensely gaslit. Like, we hunt vampires. Cool. We hunt ghosts. No.
I think technically, any time a Victorian tells you something, you're being gaslit.
The Victorian times were a bad time.
It's considered a good thing now, and I was completely gaslit. Oh, that's kind of him to enlighten you so thoroughly.
I just want him to be my friend. I really like him, but like Mr. Cutter is super awkward around people, so it's probably not going well.
You know what? I'm glad you're I'm glad you enjoy coming here and all that, but by and large, with a few exceptions. The crowd around here are pretty friendly, so I'm less of a concierge into the occult world than you might think I am.
I just assumed that you might know all sorts of interesting people. Is
Oh.
really the basis.
I know all sorts of interesting people. I don't know any ghosts.
That's fine.
Just joking. But wizards, maybe.
If I'm looking for something particular and I just simply keep asking around table by table of the Aventine, I will probably find out 1,000 fascinating, genuinely fascinating things and get entirely sidetracked from the thing I'm looking for.
Look, you're Mr. Cutter here, and Mr. Spider got my friend out of some hot water.
Mm-hmm.
You've earned my friendship and my trust, so don't think anything of it. If I can help you, I will. And I know the sorts of good that you've been trying to do, so say no more.
Thank you.
Ask after him. I want to know how he's doing.
I just did. He said it was
No,
a good
not
night.
Mr. Hyde, his friend that we saved last episode. Call back.
I forget his name because I am a fool.
Oh, he's doing much better. Thank you for asking.
Oh, good.
When last we saw him, he was sprinting traumatized from the house. I'm scared for him.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
We-
Oh, right. The whole vampire thing.
The
Christ, Brie,
vampire
the
thing.
whole vampire thing, and we killed him, and the guy ran away, and he
Yeah.
tried to kill me with a pipe. Come on.
Yeah.
It was-
The last time I saw him, he was terrified.
Fortunately, he was he ran into a friendly neighborhood policeman. I'm sure that's an expression that will age very well 100 years from now. And he's fine. He's back living with his sister. He's a bit confused about the whole event, to be honest. I tried to get it out of him, but he doesn't remember why he was so afraid. But I assured him he wasn't in any danger anymore, so that seems to have settled it.
Quite right.
Well, I know where to go if I ever have any difficulties. Millennium Club, you say? My goodness, I don't think there's been anyone there for a long time.
Well, I'm sure that at some point in time we can get it up and running again, but one step at a time.
Well,
Problems first.
I'm sure that it would be gentlemanly of me to wish you luck in that, even though you're opening up a rival establishment in one sense. Well, I'll leave you gentlemen to your drinks. You know where I am if you need me.
Of course, thank you.
Cheers.
I suggest, Mr. Cutter, we enjoy ourselves with a drink in the evening and come back much, much later to Mr. Spider and Mr. Shadow's discussion.
Mhm.
I love the theatre. I love the experience. That's really it. The experience of the moments and the things that you learn. But sometimes taking it all apart and picking at what it means or doesn't mean can all be very dry.
Mr. Cutter's gonna lean forward and just, I've never been, so I'll take your word for that.
Well, when this is all over, that must be rectified.
You mean it?
Of course. If not the Adoneum itself for the Tempest. Now the Tempest can be very heavy. I think we can possibly find something a little bit more lighthearted, bit more entertaining. We'll fix this, Mr. Cutter.
Plus, if this lightning thing works, it'll spoil you for the rest of the West End, which doesn't have anything like it. Oh, theatre's great. I love the electricity. What? No,
Okay, I'll hold
just
you
as
to that,
Shakespeare
then.
directed it. but
Like
he had cats
do
in
the
them.
glass clinky thing that you do at the end of a.
It is an
Plans
agreement
have been
and-
made.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to correct you, but I'm going to anyway. In Britain, we don't clink the glasses.
What?
Hmm.
We
You do
simply
the
raise.
clink and then you slam it on the table and
We're
then
not,
you drink it.
we're not German.
Is that a Texas thing? Oh no. Does no one else do that, chat? Does anyone else do that?
Clinking-
You clink and then you hit the table and then you drink.
Clinking glasses, as far as I've always known, was a thing we picked up recently, but I tend to think of as an American thing.
Wait,
Ah.
really?
The gesture is cheers.
Clink.
But I'm holding a wine glass. Why would I
You
slam
have to-
it?
You have to clink it all around and then you touch the table and then you drink.
I mean, I've clinked glasses with people, but
Yes, but
I
you're-
do
yes.
consider that to be yeah, it's more of a northern thing.
I
Hi,
was gonna say yes, but Bethan, you're Scottish.
I'm in the north. We do things differently up here.
So
Okay, I learned something new. Anyway, let's move on from
Oh, absolutely. So
No one does that but me. Okay.
Spider and Shadow back at the Millennium Club. I'm not quite sure what it is you're after.
Yeah,
He's
I
still
will. I
Either.
didn't.
arguing the whole way.
I didn't. Honestly, I said a throwaway comment about half an hour ago, which was just Mr. Spider was going to go get his books, and then we'd come back and reconvene and go in when Kaplan left. He's just getting his Shakespeare so that he's ready to go. Like,
Okay.
he's not going to get his big boy's book of ghosts.
Then, if you don't mind, I would like to move on to the next interesting thing that occurs,
Please, God.
Fine by us.
More ghosts. More ghosts.
which
I'm so excited.
occurs at the
Sorry.
townhouse of Mr. Christopher Wick.
Oh no.
You are catching up on your correspondence when there is a knock at the door. Do you have a gentleman?
No.
There is a knock at the door.
And to it.
And you open the door quite unexpectedly to see the Dowager Countess Woodbridge looking in quite a state.
Lady Woodbridge.
I'm so sorry to have intruded.
No, please come in, your ladyship.
Thank you so much, Lady Woodbridge. Please, none of that ladyship stuff. We're certainly colleagues, Mr. Wick. I'm afraid I've got some rather bad news, and I didn't know who to go to. I don't know how you've gotten on speaking with Sir Arthur, but I heard from dear Mr. Kaplan.
Indeed.
He was in that theatre all night last night, and he came to me this morning in the most dreadful state. I don't believe I've ever seen anyone looking so haggard and frustrated. And he says he's had to close the theatre. He said he's had some sort of. He was working on the electrics last night, and he says he's encountered some sort of devastating safety issue.
Really?
He says that some ruffians came by the theatre earlier in the evening and showed quite an interest in his work, but they were raving about the most curious things. He wouldn't tell me exactly what it was they said, but he said they were raving and threatening.
Gosh.
And he said that he decided that they were serious enough about the problems that he would look into things and try to make sure that everything was, in good repair. And he said that something's gone wrong with the electrics, and now it's dangerous for anyone to go back there.
He's uncovered so that these thugs aside, he's uncovered a problem with the electrics by.
It sounds like a problem he's not even sure he can fix. He says he's just waiting for the generator to run out of coal.
Oh, good grief! And he can't exactly get consult any other experts or give him assistance on this.
I tried to calm the poor man down, but as far as I know, he's run back to his flat, and he looked so frightened. I don't know why I've come to you. What did Sir Arthur have to say?
Sir
Was
Arthur,
it the money?
No, it was not. Sir Arthur, I'm very confident that Sir Arthur believes what he has to say before I dive into it, Lady Woodbridge, is that he is convinced that after he experienced the striking of lightning, that he saw apparitions that he believes to be ghosts.
Oh, he's maintaining his story, is he?
He is maintaining his story. Now, the fact is, it does remain that he believes that, and actors are a irksomely superstitious lot. And if this is a story which if he is not given the impression that we are treating this seriously, he may start to talk to other actors, and that they, as a superstitious lot, may start to, it may be difficult to even replace Sir Arthur if his tongue wags. And I believe it will wag. I assured him very much that I was prepared to look into the matter as much as I possibly could, but it was only a day ago.
I think I know what's happening.
Indeed?
Yes, it's these electrics. I wanted so well for them to work. But I know that people are frightened of them. I know that these strange new technological marvels that are being produced all over the world. Mr. Kaplan speaks of these things in such a passionate way. He comes from New York, where you have great giants like Edison and Tesla working on wonder after wonder, and I think Mr. Kaplan thinks he might be the next Volta, the next Galvani. And I think I got swept up in the idea that everyone would be as excited about this revolution.
Lady Woodbridge, it is a fascinating prospect.
Oh, have you seen it
intrigued by
working?
I haven't.
It's wonderful. Prospero raises his staff in conjuring the spirits, and lightning shoots from this marvelous contraption above the stage. It looks as though the hand of God himself reaches down to bless, as though the spirit of Shakespeare fills the auditorium.
And Lady Woodbridge, may I when I spoke with Sir Arthur, he himself expressed only excitement at the prospect that he would be Prospero standing within lightning itself, that someday this would be commonplace, but he would be the first. There are many of us who agree with this vision, Lady Woodbridge. We simply need to iron out the kinks.
I hope you're right, but if this catastrophic problem that Mr. Kaplan has described is real, then it may be we may have to restrain our expectations somewhat. My only concern is that whatever the problem is, it does not set back the refurbishments or cost any more money.
I understand. But Lady Woodbridge, may I request? Now, I've travelled quite a bit in my time, and I've picked up many friends. And Mr. Kaplan, however, is your man, and I would hate to attempt to. I would love to look into this matter and resolve this matter, but if you could possibly ask Mr. Kaplan to cooperate with me, to give me the full time and assistance in all of these things, so that I can take as much as possible off your plate. But because I don't want to, it's best that we're a united front, and I can take this matter away from your concerns.
Shall I send him a note to expect to hear from you?
Please do.
Yes, of course. I knew my instinct to come and see you was correct. The problem is I enjoy working with the board for some things, but when we were first trying to bring on Sir Arthur, you were the only one who had any solution for working out a fee structure with him. I know this is a little outside of your normal interests.
It is, but I like to keep life interesting. I'm not just a finances man.
Well, Mr. Kaplan, if Mr. Kaplan cannot find a way to make this work, we must restrain our revolutionary instincts and try to make things as interesting as possible, but have to resign to the fact that things must stay conventional until the science is on our side.
I will, if you send the letter, I will speak with Mr. Kaplan, and then I will see what can be done. What if there are any friends I can bring in who can be of assistance?
I will send a note to Mr. Kaplan and ask him to cooperate with you or any of your people.
Thank you.
Fully.
And we'll look into the security matter of these ruffians while we're about it.
I have no idea what possible interest they could have in a theatre that's been closed for 4 years, but you never know. Rumours do get about, and perhaps they were interested in. There are some people who Mr. Kaplan was telling me about that they were, in all likelihood, about to strip the place for the copper. So perhaps we might invest in some security, but be gentle with Mr. Kaplan.
Oh, of course.
Whatever it was that the problem is, he's very shaken by it. I suspect his pride is hurt because his beloved technology has not worked according to his expectations, but be gentle with him.
I will. Thank you.
Well,
I will deal with the matters.
Thank you so much for seeing me. Hopefully the next meeting of the board we'll all be able to drink in celebration of our new opening.
I have no doubt.
Well, good day to you.
Good day, your ladyship.
She steps out and returns to her carriage.
I'm sorry, but I think Mr. Slide is probably going to wait a bit for an opportunity for her to send a letter, and then he's going to need to go to Kaplan as Christopher Wick to knock this next door open, so to speak.
Okay. Well, that sounds like the next thing then.
Mm-hmm.
You wait a few hours. You know Lady Woodbridge is when she has a concern about something, she deals with it pretty efficiently. So I think you probably wait until about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know she'll have sent a runner. She won't have waited for the afternoon post. She'll have sent a runner. And you take a cab to you of course already know where Mr. Kaplan lives. You were going to go there last night. Goodbye, Bowman. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to your comments on the VOD.
Called us ruffians.
Yeah.
It is, by the way,
what I'm going to say about your.
It is, by the way, Kaplan, Caplin, like Chaplin.
Oh, I-N. I was spelling it with a C.
I was thinking like Mr. Cap.
Can we take a tiny break?
Yes. Why don't we take a break before we go? And because it's getting up towards 6 o'clock. So it's 5 to 6. Let's say we'll be back at about 10 past 6. Quarter of an hour break. Is that all right with everyone? Get a cup of tea or whatever, or a sherry and a rock cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that help me?
You're on.
Yeah, we're on. That was an event. Okay, well, we're on. Bree, what? Welcome back. During the break, Bethan learned perfect stealth. Now, I can see her because I've got excellent eyesight. These are just aesthetic, but some of you might struggle. So, Mr. Wick, you were going to, as yourself, I believe,
Yes.
the flat of Mr. Moses Kaplan.
Yes.
When you knock on the door, there's no answer, but you think you hear the sound of someone dropping something.
Ghosts.
Mr. Kaplan.
Mute myself.
It's Christopher Wick, Mr. Kaplan. I've just spoken with Lady Woodbridge. Please, can I speak with you?
After a couple of seconds, the door opens slightly. Lady Woodbridge sent you?
Yes. She said that you were in terrible trouble.
You better you best come in.
Thank you.
I remember you.
Yes.
On the board, right?
Yes, I'm on the board. We certainly met at some point, but we weren't ever properly introduced. Christopher Wick.
Yes, of course. Moses Kaplan. So, can I offer you anything? I was just making a cup of tea.
Tea would be splendid, but please don't put yourself out, Mr. Kaplan. I understand.
Please sit down.
Of course.
So, what did Lady Woodbridge tell you?
She said that you've had to shut the theatre down for a matter of security. That there's something wrong with the electricals.
Something wrong, and I can't explain it. You're on the board, so I assume you've heard about Sir Arthur withdrawing from the project.
Yes, and I've spoken with Sir Arthur myself. I've heard his account.
Well, other people have heard his account as well, because last night I was visited by the strangest people.
Indeed.
I'm not quite sure what they were. I thought they were thugs, and then I thought they were thieves, but they were asking the most demented questions about... I'm not even going to go into it, but...
4 of them. Masks?
Yes.
I, too, was visited by some similar gentlemen.
Okay.
Said they were looking into, as I say, reports of ghosts. I think that they must have... I don't know how. They must have heard from someone, maybe if Sir Arthur has been speaking more openly, but they were asking me about my involvement and what I knew about ghosts at the Adoneum. However, this does not explain the...
Oh, no, sorry, I was telling you my story. Well, they didn't do anything to the electrics. In fact, one of them showed a great interest in it all. But they things took a strange turn. I showed them the wonderful effects that I've been working on, and I thought, well, that'll demonstrate for sure that there's no ghost problem, nothing supernatural going on. It didn't seem to persuade them. I'm afraid I got a bit spooked by the whole thing, to be honest. But something about the way they were so, I don't know.
Very adamant.
Adamant's the word for it, but I decided see the incident that I thought I was replicating was when Sir Arthur was on stage, but I realized that actually I'd set things up a little differently this time. So after they were left, I tried to replicate exactly how things were set up. Mr. Wick, I'm a scientist. Which means I don't believe in things that can't be demonstrated, replicated through experimental methods. But no responsible scientist would deny the things he has observed. I do not believe I am prepared to say that the theater is haunted. Not in that sense. But some strange phenomenon is occurring. And I believe I now understand what it was Sir Arthur saw.
Please explain.
At least, I mean, I don't mean I can explain it. I mean, I have seen it.
What did you see?
Can't hear me either. James, where did the audio cut out? One second. Yeah, so I switched to a different scene, and then it didn't pick up the audio from this. You can hear me, not everybody else, though. Can everyone else make sounds real quick? Hang on. Tick-tocking. Okay, that's.
Are we all audible? Can somebody please say?
I think
okay.
this should work now.
Are we all audible now?
Can
I'm talking, making noises, and it's all
Can we do, because I think I switched it right when you got to, he said he saw what Mr. Sir Arthur Higgs saw.
Apparitions.
Yes, apparitions. I heard this ghastly sound. I can't really describe it, and then I saw figures, and I ran. I chained up the door. And at first I thought, okay, the generator will run out in a few hours. But then I thought, no, 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 it needs someone to regulate it. There's a heat valve, and if it's not, if the pressure isn't taken down, the boiler in the generator could overheat. But I can't ask my people to go back in there. I don't want to cause a panic, and I can't do it on my own.
Then it seems as if we may need those adamant and inconvenient individuals.
Perhaps, but I've no way of getting in touch with them.
Left me a card. I indulged in my thought they were somewhat. It seems as if our interaction was somewhat more civil than if you mistook them for ruffians.
Well, then thank God you did. Do you think we can reach them in time?
I can probably. I'll send a boy, and I will head forth, and I'll head forth to contact them and also see about have some discussions at the fire department discreetly, just in case something goes awry with an electrical fire.
No, we have to keep it absolutely quiet.
That's why I'll have discreet conversations. I'll prepare for the worst using my name and send these gentlemen to meet you at...
If the board finds out about this...
I am the board, and thus I can handle this discreetly. However, what is worse is if it happens and the fire spreads and rampages because no one is ready.
If we're there within the next few hours, there shouldn't be a problem.
I am sure. I will make these preparations for the worst case scenario whilst I and contact them as well.
Where will you have these people meet?
I'll send them to the Adoneum. You might as well meet there and let them in.
Yes. No, not there. We have to make sure we do this right. I can't have Lady Woodbridge's reputation being damaged because of a mistake I've made. We can't just walk in through the front door.
Shall I send them here to meet you? And then you can concoct a means of getting in more discreetly. In fact, all the better than that I'm absent, because then I can try to keep eyes away from the Adoneum.
Yes, let's make sure you and they are not in the same place as much as possible.
And I can protect you as much as possible as well, and the theatre.
All right, I'll be here. I'll come up with a plan. I'll be here.
Excellent. I will make haste then. We'll deal with this, Mr. Kaplan. Don't worry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wick. You've put my mind at ease. Let's just get it done.
Right. And I take my leave super quickly.
And you send out the crows.
Yes.
And Mr. Spider and Cutter meet you wherever it is you want them to meet you, at the Aventine or the Millennium, wherever you prefer.
Yeah, well, probably like at the Millennium, and then we start taking a carriage to Kaplan's place together, and I imagine we can talk en route.
This is a few days later. It's like the next day.
There's a couple of hours.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, this is the next morning day.
Okay.
It is now, by the time you're all assembled, it's probably about 4 p.m. As you rock up outside of Kaplan's flat.
So, yeah, and I think that Slide will have just repeated everything pretty much verbatim. Reenacted it.
Marvelous work, Slide. Really, quite ingenious that we paid you a visit.
I was quite pleased with myself when I thought of it. But also it may be useful in the future. But yes, we may have to discreetly make our way into the Adoneum with Mr. Kaplan and resolve the matter without anyone noticing.
Heavens, I take it you shall require me to do more of the talking this time then. That your ingenious subterfuge is not overcome.
Yes, that would be preferable. Besides, right now we're at planning rather than persuading.
Yeah, of course. Heavens.
Now, so yes, just remember you paid a visit to an associate of his, and he may say my name, whatever, at this point in time. And was summoned. And are here to assist in shutting down the generator and resolving what other problems may arise.
Does he believe it is a phantasm? Or does he believe he is losing his mind?
I think he doesn't know. He is certainly scared. But right now it's difficult to tell if he's scared of the generator burning everything down that he left in his fear.
But we are somewhat absolved of our impropriety of earlier.
Yes, I believe so. I would remain cautious and with him, but I certainly take on the stance that we are here to help, and we come in good spirits.
Mr.
Well, you know what
Cutter
I mean.
takes one step back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personal space is a thing now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Cutter, perhaps less of the pipe talk.
I'm more like someone who's going to protect him than threaten him.
I would never use something so brutish as a pipe.
I don't know where he got that from.
I'm offended.
Quick flashback to you smashing an old man against the wall.
Yes, but
Oh,
pipes involved.
oh man, I will pipe you.
And then I think you almost entirely cut off a vampire's head a couple of weeks later.
Yes, but not with a pipe. Again,
No.
I have finesse.
Indeed.
Can we cut to all
grace.
those clips that have Mr. Kaplan in the back going?
He was there the whole time. So you knock on the door, and he opens it, and oh, you're here from our mutual associate, are you?
Yes, Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Spider, the gentlemen strangers. I believe you're expecting us.
Expecting is a strange word to use, but yes, please come in.
Strange is our business, Mr. Kaplan.
So, I don't know if I should use names, but our mutual friend.
Names are unnecessary. There is a moment where Mr. Spider does glance at Mr. Slide, and you know that Mr. Spider is interested in things, but then we'll go, names are unnecessary, Mr. Kaplan.
I've got some. I don't know if you've asked about compensation, but if we can keep this matter quiet, I've got something put by from Lee Woodbridge. I can make sure you're compensated if we can get this done quickly and quietly.
The matter of pick a word you can say, Izzy. The matter of our compensation is quite for a future discussion. Right now, we wish for results rather than.
All right, here it is. He unrolls a bit of paper, and it's a blueprint of the theatre. So, to shut down the generator safely, there are 3 breakers. They need to be pulled here, and he points to a cabinet at the rear of the stalls. Here, and there's another cabinet backstage, and of course down here in the generator room itself. They have to be pulled as closely to each other as possible, so a certain amount of splitting up might be necessary. And once all 3 of those switches have been pulled, I can safely shut down the generator. Now, the generator has to be shut down properly, so as long as at least one of you is willing to stay with me, I don't want to go in there on my own, to be honest. The heat valve will need to be purged as well. But I can do all of that quite trivially as long as the breakers have been pulled first. Now, obviously, there are 3 entrances. The front entrance isn't much of an option. It's right on the street. And a stage entrance, and there's one directly into the basement. Now, the basement... The basement is I know I have to go there, but
I'll provide whatever support you need.
What is it that you are so afraid of, Mr. Kaplan?
I do not know what it is. But whatever it or they are, it or they is everywhere in that theater right now.
Then I can assure you, wherever it is that you intend to go,
You will be accompanied by Mr. Cutter. He may look very young, but you have seen he has quite a temperament. We are grateful to you for your assistance in this matter.
My belief is that Mr. Cutter and I should enter directly into the basement, and that the two of you should go in the stage door and then split up. One of you is going to need to use the stairs backstage. They lead up to the gantry above the lights. That is where the second breaker is, okay? You'll be able to see each other from there and make sure you pull the breakers at the same time. As for timing on the rest of it, I should be able to see if I can get to the generator when the other two breakers are pulled.
That all sounds reasonable. The gantry sounds like something I can handle.
Excellent. And of course you will pipe up if you hear anything of these apparitions.
You won't be able to hear me.
Well, then you'll have Carter with you, so...
Yes.
Indeed.
I'm not sure why I think your presence will be reassuring, Cutter. You were threatening me last night, and I'm not sure what you can do to protect me against whatever this phenomenon is, but it's you and I together.
Cutter, I'm certain you have an apology to make to poor Mr. Kaplan for frightening him so.
No, let's not worry about any of that. I don't take it personally. Just look, I started this game in New York, and believe me, the competition between Edison and Tesla was enough to inure me to industrial espionage. Let us just put last night behind us and save the theater.
Besides, we're all friends now, right?
We are allies, at least.
Close enough.
And I cannot think of a better ally to be by your side than Mr. Cutter. Now, the stage door, you say?
Let us get a cab. So, this is engagement, I believe.
Yay! Now we know what we're breaking in to do.
Just a normal electrical maintenance job.
Yeah, totally fine and normal.
We'll all break in dressed as plumbers.
So this is transport, and you've split up. I think it's transport because you're escorting someone somewhere safely. Well, it's not really assault since you're not killing anything.
No, I thought it was stealthy. Yeah.
Well, I think it's transport because the job once you're in there is to get Mr. Kaplan safely to the. So you are all provided. He's got some supplies in his flat, and he gives you all rubber-soled boots, shaded goggles, and rubber gloves.
Does this count against our load, or is this just...
Yes. Please pick your load. These things take up one load.
Okay.
They're not the most elegant.
Well,
So the
I'm
whole
not
rubber stuff is one
sneaking,
load,
so
right?
I'm just gonna...
Yeah.
Normal.
The whole rubber equipment is one load.
Normal, I forget what normal would do. Normal doesn't incur any penalties, etc., etc.
No, none of them incur penalties exactly. They just make you more conspicuous.
I'll stick with normal then.
You also have +2 just from being vigilantes anyway.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So if you take the low load, you'll still have 5.
I'll stick with light then, because
You're not likely to need any weapons because I don't think you've got any weapons that
That
will.
can kill a ghost. My ghost killing dagger.
Okay, so let me roll some engagement. I think this plan is particularly bold. I think we're going to do 2 dice for engagement. What do we get? We get a 5.
Nice.
Okay, so you've split into 2 groups, and Cutter and Kaplan, you have entered in a desperate position. Because as the chain is removed and the door is opened, you are bombarded by this eerie sound that is like, it's like 1,000 things happening at once on the other side of a thick pane of glass. You think you see just out of the corner of your eye things moving. You think you see figures appearing. I am going to start 2 clocks. The first clock has 6 segments, and it's called Curious Bystanders.
Hi, Chihuahuas.
And the other clock is an 8-segment clock I'm calling Kaplan's Terror.
Oh, good.
Okay, that's all better than
when Curious Bystanders is filled, someone's going to wander into the theatre to find out what's going on, and when Kaplan's Terror is filled, he will flee, and you will have to figure out the generator for yourself.
Cool.
Which I don't think I need to tell you will be a difficult thing for you to do.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Cutter, would you please roll Resolve as you experience the unambiguously supernatural situation that you are now surrounded with?
Okay. Oh, this is you just push it and then you submit it and that's it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, I got a 6.
Very, very nice. So you succeed in that. You do not freeze or suffer any stress from doing that. Which is good, because as I recall, you don't actually have much stress to spare.
So I clear 1 though. That's nice.
Do you?
It says when you roll a critical on resistance.
That is not a critical. You need to roll 2 6s for a critical.
Oh, I thought because there was some 5s in there. Okay, never
6
mind.
and 2 5s. So close.
5.
That is not a critical, but you don't take any extra stress. I am going to tick up Kaplan's Terror.
Oh man.
He's not going to roll to resist things, but his terror will tick up by 1.
Can I give him a word of encouragement?
By all means.
It's not so bad. I've seen worse. She's so not good at this.
Fine. So Slide and Spider, you know where you are respectively going. You are hit by this phenomenon, but to a much lesser extent. So for now, it's more curious than overtly supernatural. And you split up. So you see all over the place, every now and then, in the air, just lightning will arc from one point to another with seemingly no cause. You feel the hairs on your neck standing up, and you hear sort of this humming, but the humming is filled indeed with the sorts of sounds that could be almost vocalizations. Not quite, but almost. And the way your shadows are cast in the occasional flickers of lightning, why they could be people standing some way in front of you, but you're not completely sure what they are. So, Mr. Spider, you've got to get to the back of the auditorium to throw the breaker in the cabinet. As you split up from Mr. Slide, and as you do, a thing is going to happen.
No. Why me?
Somewhere in front of you, there is a crack of lightning, and a figure fully formed stands in front of you. It's a man, and he's frozen doing this. And you can hear the sound of someone screaming, but it's like I said, it's behind several layers of thick glass. The sound isn't quite right. Nevertheless, you need to roll Resolve, please. Or unless you want to fight, you can flee or freeze if you choose to. If you want to resist, it's a Resolve roll.
I think in the circumstances, I would like to freeze.
Oh. Check that then.
Oh, I didn't know I had to do. I thought that you just said or. I'll do the less complicated thing then.
No, it's not complicated. I wasn't expecting it to happen yet.
No, I thought it was just no.
No.
Please, God, ignore me. Please, God, ignore me. I've misunderstood the system. Where are you, Stress?
No, I respect your choice. There's no complication.
No, I'm just looking at the system. I'm rolling prowess. Resolve. I'm gonna roll resolve.
It's perfectly legitimate to choose to freeze if you want to save your stress.
No bonus dice.
No.
Good. That I failed. Good.
That's not how resistance works, as you may recall. It's not a failure thing. You spend stress equal to 6 minus your highest die result. So you do not freeze, but you suffer 3 stress.
Oh no.
No.
Yes, the supernatural is a truly terrifying thing. Okay, I think we'll have to deal with Mr. Slide. Mr. Slide, something similar happens to you, but what you see is, as you climb up the ladder, to the side of you, in your peripheral vision, a figure manifests. It's a person frozen, falling. Please roll resolve, unless you want to freeze or flee.
I don't. So that's a 4, so I take 2.
You suffer 2 stress to endure and press on. So you, Mr. Cutter, you are trying to convince the frightened but just about keeping it together Mr. Kaplan down into the basement and trying to guide him to his generator room. Let me roll a thing and see what happens. Oh no. Okay. So a figure appears before you, but this one moves a little. It seems to be running from something, and as it sees you, for a second, it reaches out towards you. And you have the choice of fighting. I'm going to say fighting because fight and flight is a thing.
Yeah.
You have a choice of fleeing and freezing or resisting with resolve.
Yikes. I'm gonna freeze. I don't know if it sees me for real. I don't know if it's an actual thing.
Does it terrify you, or do you try to be unterrified?
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, it means do you let your fear overcome you, or do you not?
No, I might end up traumatized, you guys, though, just so you're aware.
It seems very likely.
So anyway, I'm gonna roll this dice and hope for the best. Hey!
Okay, so you manage to resist your fear and take no stress from doing so. But
This is so lucky.
as the ghostly apparition moves in a sort of a staccato way and reaches the hand towards you, you feel a crackling feeling around you, and the muscles in your arms and legs sort of spasming uncontrollably as you are struck with ambient electricity. So you take level 2 harm, shocked, which you can attempt to resist.
I cannot. I have no stress to spend.
Which you would attempt to resist with prowess, I believe.
I have no, I don't have stress though. Don't you have to spend it, or do you just?
You would have to. It would be like anything else. You would roll prowess, and you would spend 6 minus your result.
I don't have 6 to spend.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be shocked, I guess. Ow.
Hello, Janara. We are having a good time. I think.
Burnt.
Well, the characters aren't. I am. I hope the players are. That's ideal. You are zapped, and it hurts.
Ow. Okay.
And It was level 2 harm, which means you take -1 die. And I think 'cause I described it as like it was in your muscle, so I think anything that involves, strength, you'll lose a die from.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Spider, you push on to the breaker at the back of the auditorium, and you still see the crackles of lightning here and there. And I think you're probably at this point just trying to focus in on the cabinet, just hope that nothing sort of manifests in front of you. And you make it to the breaker. What do you do?
Just so that I'm clear, it's provided both the breakers are. We don't have to do we have to wait and throw them at the same time, or is it a?
Mr. Kaplan suggested they should be thrown as at the same time as you can manage, but it's not second by second essential.
Then Spider will get there, lay a hand on the breaker, and will turn and call. Slide, you in place?
Okay, let me roll a die. Okay, a figure partly coalesces in front of you, but doesn't quite. You don't have to roll against the shock of it, but it does keep you on your toes. I think it's fair to say. Mr. Slide, you make it up the gantry, and actually the gantry is humming. Like you can feel, even through the thick rubber soles of these boots, you can feel a sort of vibration. And you're up on this metal thing that's hanging by a chain from the ceiling, and it sways more than you think it would. And
Oh no.
It becomes very clear that you have the choice between speed or safety, and you realize that most people probably crawl on the gantry rather than walk. That choice is yours.
If I crawl, am I going to get zapped?
I don't know.
Yeah. Neither does, well, Slide certainly does. No. He is going to try to more like, he's going to proceed as relatively slowly, but he's not going to crawl. Like he's going to get himself quite low and kind of crab walk.
Okay, that's fine. I will then ask for a... I think it's a prowl.
Prowl is running, jumping, climbing trees kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
What's my position?
It is a... Ooh, you are very high up.
Desperate?
It is a desperate position, standard effect.
Oh, no bonus dice.
Good, okay.
Yes, I've got a 4 and a 6.
Very nice. So you lose balance, but all that happens is you fall and catch yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to give you level 1 harm, that you've bruised your knee essentially because you've had an abrupt landing.
Okay.
You can try to resist that if you like, or let it stand.
It's going to potentially incur some stress, isn't it?
It could incur up to 5 stress.
Yeah, not for a bruised knee. I'll save my stress for overcoming the consequences of that.
Now let me roll you. See if we get an apparition. Okay, and as you land, you look up to right yourself, and you find yourself looking up into the frozen, screaming face of someone who is sort of on the floor and writhing in some sort of pain. Please roll me your resolve.
Oh, I don't like that.
Hey.
I resist with a 6.
But you are far too busy with a bruised knee to care about this sort of thing. And you decide you've got to push on, and you don't have to spend any stress. So good. So I think the two of you are now both at your breakers.
Mm-hmm.
And you throw them.
Yep.
And as you do, let me roll fortune. Okay, so as you do, Mr. Slide, the breaker experiences an electrical surge. I'm going to deal you level 2 harm. Shocked.
So I'm looking at my.
I also am shocked.
Going to try to resist that. That's a prowess resist.
That's a prowess, yes.
So
You resist that for 1 stress. Very nice. Mr. Spider, you pull your breaker and there is no such surge. And you both become aware Mr. Slide becomes aware once he's over the pain and disorientation that follows electrocution. You both become aware that the incidence of crackles of lightning in the room have distinctly declined. The hum of the net over the stage has stopped, and you are no longer at risk of seeing any horrendous apparitions. Down in the basement, I forgot to advance the clock for Kaplan's terror, but you were electrocuted and whatnot, so that is now half filled. Let me roll for an apparition. You've got lots of apparitions showing up for you. So let's see if any of them manifest in front of you. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
That, oh my goodness, was for something else. An apparition manifests in front of you. Do you freeze or flee, or do you steal yourself?
I've gotta keep trying to steal myself, but this is resolve. Okay, I resolve it with the 6 again.
You maintain your excellent luck where resolve.
This is the.
Free. What hack skills have you employed upon Roll20?
Bro,
And where
I don't
can
know.
I
I should have been traumatized at least twice by now.
Now I owe a minor hinder.
No, you don't.
No.
No.
Poor Cutter.
From last session. I can't remember whose.
so
I
many
apologize. I can't remember
things.
whose, but I do remember that I owe one.
Hinder Kinder.
I'm aching.
So-
I'm shocked. I'm spooked.
So the figure manifests. I am going to make the consequence slightly worse for you. I am going to say you are slightly zapped, which is level 1 harm.
More zapped. Slightly zapped. Thanks.
You can of course try to resist that if you
Look,
want
it's
to.
probably interiority. I have no stress to spend. Leave me alone.
Okay. It might have been interiority actually.
Most likely.
So you still have yet to get into the generator room itself.
Yay.
But the door is before you.
Okay, let's go. I'm gonna push it open.
Okay. The door seems to be stuck. So you might have to force it.
Oh, so I'll start pushing against it and be like, is this locked? Did you lock this? Talking to Kaplan.
It doesn't have a lock.
Okay. We'll just force it open.
And you were zapped, so I'm going to give him another.
No, Kaplan. Steel yourself. We're here to do a job. Don't panic now.
So you want to break down the door?
I do.
Okay.
Is that a wreck? I'm wrecking it.
Probably a wreck, yes.
Wrecking the store. What's my position?
Risky and standard effect.
So if it's... Okay, but then I have less effect, so...
But you can do a devil's bargain.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Devil's
I
bargain.
said, not having one in mind.
Perhaps in doing so, Kaplan will discover something about you, or you will leave something at the scene that could identify you later, or
I don't want to identify.
That's real wild there.
maybe then
Okay,
you just get
okay.
a splinter in your leg.
I know what it
More
is. I know what it is.
splinters.
The devil's bargain is this. You'll get your extra die. you'll realize that the door isn't sort of uniformly stuck around the frame, and you'll push with both hands and a shoulder. You will get electrocuted a little bit from doing so if you take the devil's bargain.
Okay, so I already have 3 things in my danger ouch bar. So that would it just be in the only one at level 2 again?
No. It would force everything up.
So then I would need actual help.
You would have a level 3 harm unless you resisted it with stress.
Wait. Hold on. When it moves up, does the shocked in level 2 just go to the second shocked in level 2 so that I can have more? Is that how that works?
There's only one level 2, isn't there? Oh no, there is a
There's
second level
2.
Well, it will be level 1 harm, so we'll upgrade one of the level 1s into a level 2.
Okay. Fine. So then it's standard effect.
Yep.
And then
One
I
bonus
wouldn't get minus a die because I just took the devil's bargain.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Good. Nice. Wonderful. I'm so glad I did that.
Oh, do. Okay, so that is a 1.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty clear that that is going to be a worse consequence. So it is a failure. And what happens is you bash the door, hand in one place, shoulder on the other, and you're thrown back by this jolt that seems to emerge from the door.
Cool. Yeah.
So it was risky 1. I am going to have to deal you level 3 harm electrocuted, which you may attempt to resist with stress.
I mean, yeah. It's 2 stress to resist something? How do you... No, you just roll, resolve, and then...
You would roll, in this case, prowess.
Prowess. Oh, God.
You've been rolling well.
4, so it's 2 stress. Oh, so I'm not traumatized yet?
I'm afraid you are.
But I didn't go over it, I met it.
That's what you have to do.
Oh, then I am traumatized.
So this is what,
no.
so this is what happens. Because you've been electrocuted, it's not a case of you running away. I think the pain and the shock, you fall unconscious. Your trauma is clear, so your stress is cleared, and you've taken 1 permanent bar of trauma.
Yay.
And you are out of the rest of the heist.
No. Oh.
Kaplan, seeing this.
God damn it.
Flees. And I think you two see Kaplan running out across the stage. No.
Kaplan.
And you hear him slide. You can just about see the stage door open and close.
Bastard! We have to try to go on, or if not, reconvene.
Where is Carter?
No sign of him.
Right, well.
We have to do the other 2 breakers and then head down.
Yes, of course.
Right.
We're intelligent gentlemen, we can figure this out.
I'm sure.
There's only one more breaker down in
yes.
the generator room.
Oh, right, we're good. So, yes, we will head straight down then.
I would like to officially register a complaint that I picked my character name based on not realizing we were going to have a whole session of electrical business.
Mr. Breaker, yes.
My character's name is Mr. Breaker, and this is very confusing.
A figure manifests before you. This figure is a strange one because it's actually stuck partway in the floor. It seems to be reaching up, looking into your eyes as if begging you to help. It fades after a moment, but I need you both to roll resolve for me.
What the devil
Unless
is
you
even
want,
going on here?
But you do have the option of not rolling resolve and fleeing
No.
or freezing.
No.
That's 2. I take 2 stress. I am
Resolve.
running low on stress.
Sorry. Result. Please take me to roll 20. No bonus dice.
Mr. Spider. That is 3 stress, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Spider, your stress bar is full.
I was doing well.
Your stress bar clears.
Hooray.
You tick opponent bar of trauma. And I think because this wasn't damage, I think this is you flee.
Hey, Bree. Trauma buddies.
I'm putting Mr. Slide in a very awkward position
Yikes.
because if Mr. Cutter isn't taken out of there, Mr. Cutter is in a lot of danger.
Oh, I've got to go get Cutter.
But Mr. Slide, you press on.
Oh, God. I'm sorry as well, because I don't think he flees like in screaming terror. I think
Yeah.
he just turns on his heels and strides away,
He nopes out.
refusing to acknowledge your existence.
Spider! Spider!
This is a traumatic fleeing. This is not a tactical decision.
Yeah.
So you get down to the basement, and you see Cutter lying there, smoldering, I think, a little bit,
Ugh.
breathing, visibly breathing, but you can't get more than fleeting consciousness out of him.
Yeah, yes, but Slide will have kind of nudged Cutter with like genuinely gently nudged with the boot, because he doesn't know how electricity works. So let's touch him with the
Sure.
rubber boot first, and then sort of shaky, but can't bring Cutter around. And we'll turn and look at the
Door. Is the door still
bullshit
shut?
of the door's still shut. Yeah.
No, when the door discharged into Cutter, it came unmagnetized from the frame, so it swings loosely on its hinges.
You're
Slide's gonna
welcome.
Slide's gonna duck in. He's at least gonna take a look at this.
You can see all sorts of things you don't understand, but you do see the panel with the breaker, and you see that there are some lights that are off, 2 lights that are off, and one that's on above the one breaker on the wall.
Okay, let's throw that last breaker.
Okay, I'm gonna have to roll fortune.
2 stress left.
Doesn't involve any. Ho! I have rolled well on your behalf. You pull the breaker down, and it's a little bit buzzy and sort of static. You might get that sort of pins and needles and crackling, but there's no pain from it. At which point, a few more lights come on the generator, and you see what look like gauges filling up.
Slide heads to the generator and is just gonna try to see if there's anything he can figure out for what could possibly be done for
So
shutting this thing
essentially, you can see a big breaker switch on it.
Yeah.
Several other smaller releases on it. You sort of have 2 options here, I think.
down.
There's brute force or less brutal but still somewhat ignorance pulling of switches. It's essentially the choice between a wreck and a tinker.
I have nothing in either one of those.
The devil is always here.
I will be traumatized if I can't take the 2 stress.
The devil doesn't cost stress.
Oh yes, the devil. I will take a freaking devil's bargain then.
Okay. The devil's bargain is this. One of the spirits takes an interest in you.
Sure.
Oh, okay, right out of the gate. Fantastic.
You know, yes. And it doesn't. I'm going to make it in rec because, frankly, Slide is better at prowess and not in
If
the
anyone
slightest
has
bit
any
capable in
minor
insight.
helps to cash in,
Please.
now is the time, and I'm going to slowly pretend to take interest in this cold chai latte remnant.
God, please, audience. This is the first time I'm actively asking for some helps, y'all. Oof.
Delicious.
Nothing's coming in.
Oh my God, you bastards!
They're doing it on purpose. I feel it.
Oh! There's questions. How? Please.
It should be on your screen when you hover over the VOD.
They're rallying. The fans are rallying.
They're on.
I really don't want them all to be traumatized from this, but
it's not showing in. No. I thought it was all activated.
Even the Hinderkinder are moved by your cause.
Hey.
Minor help has been redeemed. Okay. That is going to be an extra die.
Cool. So I'm rolling. I'll be rolling 2.
My position did as well.
The Twitch interface might have changed since the last time I did this, so this might be on me.
So from Muffy Malloy, you're going to get an extra die.
Cool.
From Domitella, I'm going to give you reduced consequences. Reduced negative consequences.
Cool. I assume this is desperate.
I am downgrading it to risky.
Okay.
The minor help.
Neat. So risky. Standard effect, and I have effectively 2 bonus dice because I have
one from the devil and one from me.
I can't look.
Okay.
2 5s, folks.
Success
I rolled 2 5s.
Success with a consequence. Can I redeem a hinder as well to give? You can't use helps and hinders to counteract.
I mean, it would have helped buff up my XP, but I'll take
it would have done. Louis, don't forget, Cutter, you've made a desperate check, haven't you? And Slide, you have as well.
I made a desperate check. I've marked that already.
Okay.
Mine was just risky.
So you throw the switch. This was with Wreck. So I think you just slam it straight up.
Yep. This is Nathan Fillion disarming a nuclear bomb by just pulling out the wires in castle.
Yes. This isn't a refined thing that's happening here. You are you take a level 2 harm shocked.
Sure.
Because the consequence was reduced from desperate, let me roll a fortune roll. Do you want high to be in your favor or low?
I'll go with high being in my favor.
In which case, the safety valve kicks in and the generator is shut down without a risk of exploding. And an eerie silence falls over the theatre, except for one strange sound, the clearest of the spooky sounds you've heard all evening. You hear the unmistakable sound of a little boy. The little boy whispers in your ear, "Stay vigilant."
Okay.
And then silence descends.
As you say. Shit, Cutter!
Please save me, thank you.
After shitting myself, I'll get Cutter and we'll get out of here.
So you sort of pick up Cutter, and Cutter's nowhere near conscious enough to be self-ambulatory at this point.
No.
You kind of drag him out. I think you see Kaplan. He hasn't ran for the hills, but I think you see him huddled up, trying with trembling hands to light a cigarette and not succeeding. And he looks up at you. He goes, "God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How is he?"
He's out. He's out cold. It's done. I've shut it down. Just help me get him out of here.
Okay. Where's Spider?
left, I really hope to get a carriage.
Okay. So, let's resolve this.
Oh, thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
so much to
the
the,
alliance of the
yes,
Hinterkinder and the Aid Brigade.
Yes, yeah. Domitella and James, we owe you much. Even though James did follow up with an attempt to hinder.
Listen, I respect the Hinterkinder, and thus I respect crossing of the aisle.
Yes, no, that is absolutely fair. So congratulations, you have resolved the Adoneum affair. I think it's safe to say that the complex nature of the electronics are downgraded. They're taken down. The decision is made. It's too risky. The mystery is never really. I mean, Kaplan doesn't seem convinced that it was something supernatural, but he is convinced that something bad happened. And I think he's more than willing to give up on it. So let's deal with the consequences of what has happened. Kaplan's true to his word. You did solve the problem, and you didn't cause any problems on top of them. So he gives you 2 coin.
Neat.
You're actually accruing quite a lot of coin. Remember, each of you can only hold 4, and your vault back at your strongbox can only hold 4.
Oh, I reckon we blow this in downtime for extra actions for things like
sounds like
healing
this
and
might-
stuff.
Yeah, there might be things that need doing there. So we've got some trauma, which is interesting. That will mean that vices have to be indulged. But let's deal with these things first. Reputation. So this is, I think you did name drop Gentlemen Strangers. Mr. Spider did, I think.
Yeah, Spider was fabulous.
So you are going to get 2 rep for that.
pushing buttons,
Meaning
I
that
can
you now have 11 out of the 12 you need.
Oh, I will. I'll do the character sheet
Oh, never
Okay.
mind. I'm taking off my clicks.
So I think Slide, you just get the 2 coin. You can decide what to do with that. That's fine. Heat. You didn't do anything illegal. There is no heat. There was no crime committed, no attention was drawn. You didn't take any actions that provoked innocent bystanders going in. And even if you had, that wouldn't have been a heat consequence.
Mm-hmm.
So no heat. Well done. You didn't provoke any entanglements. So now we have to deal with downtime activities. Spider and Cutter, you gained trauma. What that means is that you see, hang on. You see next to trauma, there are words cold, haunted, obsessed, paranoid, reckless, soft, unstable, and vicious.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, you click one of those, it might actually raise your trauma, so make sure your trauma bar is cleared. But you click one of those, and that is a new personality trait you have. You don't have to roleplay it. But if you do, particularly if it's to your detriment, you'll get an experience point at the end of every heist for it.
Oh,
So
I like that.
don't make any decisions quickly. You can think, we've got a couple of weeks, think about what it, because you both had very different traumas. One of you had a trauma that was a combination of extreme pain as well as stress. Spider, yours was caused by terror. So do think about what personality change that might mean. These words are deliberately vague. It's not for me to tell you how to interpret words like unstable and vicious. You have to decide that for yourself. But at the end of any session where you role played them, either significantly or somehow to your detriment, I will give you an experience point for doing so. You can only take 4 trauma. If you take 4 trauma, you retire from the Gentleman Stranger's life altogether.
Does that mean we can only take 3 trauma, or that we can take 4 and
You
then
can
no more?
have 4 of those. Oh no!
You fill it up
Oh
with
no!
4, you're out.
Because you can't take more than.
You take 3 trauma. When you take the 4th trauma, you are retired from the game. There is a vigilante perk you can get that gives you a free 5th trauma bar.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
So
need
think
that.
about that. Don't forget to clear your stress if you haven't already. If you took a trauma, that does clear your stress. Mr. Slide, you are perilously close,
Yes. Oh, yes.
but I think you've probably got ways to deal with that. So let's deal with experience first before we get on to downtime. Let's start with Mr. Slide, who is the very sanest. Well, first of all, anyone who rolled a desperate action, you get experience point in the attribute you rolled your desperate action in.
Yep.
Did you address a challenge with deception or influence? Yes, I would say certainly you did. It's not really my opinion.
No, I agree.
I don't get an opinion on this, but you certainly did. You masterfully, in fact. I thought that was great. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. What do you think about that?
I'd actually say yes.
Yep.
That considering there was a lot of personal motivation of Christopher Wick's background in resolving the matters for the. I don't think that he would have. He might have he probably would have taken Cutter and run if he didn't have a personal stake in the mission at the end.
I agree, and I also think that the way that you managed all of the aforementioned deceit and so forth was done with a view to the sort of decency that someone of your social station has to conform to. So I absolutely agree.
I'm going to take those
did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
I don't think really my actually I said arguably my obligation is to a person rather than just generally one's real life, because I was going to suggest the person in my obligation has nothing to do with the theatre. But
no, that's okay.
I was going to try to invoke that actually my sort of real identity was a bit more on the line, but I don't think that counts.
I agree with you. I don't think it quite, because I think it has to involve him, doesn't it?
Yes, or at least that end of my life.
Yes.
So that's 2.
That's
In
2.
which case, I'd like to spend I'll say this partly so I'm sure I'm doing it right. Can I pop them both into my prowess and which would then fill my bar?
I believe you have the choice of putting it in your character bar or in any of your skill bars. Yes.
I would like to then fill my prowess, and I have maxed out my prowess bar.
You have, so you clear that out and you can put a dot somewhere. I believe at the moment your maximum stat, not that it matters, but your maximum stat is 3 at the moment until you can upgrade.
That's fine. I'll put that into skirmish because that's what Mr. Slide has been explicitly training on.
That's fantastic. Mr. Cutter. Hello, how are you?
Oh,
I can
okay.
see that you have chosen, is that your final choice for trauma?
I think so.
So for the audience, for those playing the home game, Mr. Cutter has chosen paranoid. I like that a lot. So you've got lots of wounds. Let's deal with that later. It's not downtime yet. We're dealing with experience points. So did you roll any desperate actions this session?
No.
I thought you had, but now I think I was wrong, and I was mixing that up with Mr. Sly's desperate action. That roll against the door, was that not desperate? Was that just risky?
Yeah.
Oh, you rolled a 1 with it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So did you address a challenge with violence or coercion?
Yes.
Yes.
Notably. I think I want you to take 2 experience points for that. You addressed one problem with violence and coercion in that you decided to approach Mr. Kaplan in a coercive posture, but I think you very bravely rammed down the electrified door, and because it had such a negative consequence for you, I don't know if it's in the rules, but I would like you to have another experience point for doing it even when it's against your interests.
Thanks.
Do you feel that you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Not really. Not this
Okay.
time.
Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
No.
No. Okay, fine. So that's great. Are you putting those in playbook, are you?
Because that means then I get to take a special ability later.
It will indeed. When you fill that up, you'll
yeah.
get...
I
Yeah,
want
no
to
problem.
do some healing perks
Okay,
because I...
Just finish our XPs first. Mr. Spider. Hello, Mr. Spider. How are you?
I'm not doing great.
Have you done any desperate actions?
No.
Okay. Did you address a challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
I would argue that that's what we were doing with our pretending that the gentlemen strangers were from Mr. Wick. Mr. Wick had sent us, and like.
I agree, but I think Mr. Slide did that. But I'm saying because that was Mr. Slide's idea, right?
Yeah, but then coming in not just as like the fake thugs, but twisting that into the gentleman. No, you're fine. I'm not going to argue for it.
Okay. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage,
Yes.
or background? Yes, you did. I think I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I loved his King Lear. It was so good. I thought that was fantastic. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
No, but I will do.
You certainly will. Yes, that's.
I love that you said, take your time, think about it. I'm like, I have decided and settled already. Everything is sorted. I'm ready to go.
For those playing the home game, Mr. Spider has taken the haunted personality trait. I do not know how Izzy is going to interpret that. I look forward to seeing it coming up in play or not as she sees fit. So let's do some downtime. Let's go back to Mr. Slide downtime activities. 2, and then if you want to pay coin or rep, you are welcome to.
Of course, I will certainly open this up with I'm currently keeping to the group in that I have noted down the 2 coin we've been paid, but I think that we should all feel like we can use them for our downtime.
What can we spend coin on? Sorry,
you get an extra downtime action.
Yeah, you spend. It says here, you can do an additional activity, for 1 coin or 1 rep. You can also spend coin to increase the effectiveness of an activity, such as you can spend coin to get an extra die on resolving your trauma if you've got lots of stuff.
I would love it if we could use the coin to help lower our heat, because we have a lot of heat, and we were very lucky not to get any more heat this session, but we should lower our heat.
We can spend multiple things as well. We've not really been spending much coin at all.
Oh no,
so...
you spend no coin, I think.
So we can all go to town on spending coin on odds and ends. It was just what I was going to say. But for the moment, what am I going to do? I would like to indulge my vice for starters.
Yes, good plan. So you roll your lowest resistance.
I'm mostly wondering about spending some coin to be better at that if I can.
Is that how that works? Yeah. Is it just 1 extra dice?
So I've got some coin in my own stash.
Yes. Let's have a quick check. Yeah. What am I talking about? What am I thinking? You do have some coin, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think it increases the effectiveness. Let me have a quick squiz. The first time I've actually spent coin. This is good.
Yes.
I like the way it encourages you to do so.
I mean, it seems like that's all that coin is for, really. So.
Coin. So spend 1 coin to get an additional activity, increase the result of a downtime activity roll, avoid certain entanglements, put it in your stash, advance your tier. So you want to use it to try to increase the effectiveness of something.
Mm-hmm.
For any downtime activity, you can increase the result level by 1 for each coin spent. So if you rolled a 1 to 3, it would become a 4 or a 5. A 4 to 5 result becomes a 6, and a 6 becomes a critical.
Oh, okay. So I can make the roll and then decide.
You can see, yes, absolutely.
Excellent. So I will make my insight check. So that's a 2 because I take the lower. But I could. Can I up that with coin?
Yeah. So a 1 to 3 result becomes a 4 or a 5. I don't know whether it becomes a 4 or it's germane, right? Whether it's I don't know how this works with stress. I think I'm going to say it's spending a coin. I'm just going to say with stress it becomes a 5.
That's very fair. Thank you.
Just because I think it should be effective. But yeah, clear 5 stress.
Thank you. Oh, I pressed this. Oh, it didn't want me to unclick anything, so I didn't.
Oh no.
So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm back to 2 stress, where I was at the start of all of this.
Yes.
And
okay.
we have 1 coin. And I would like to get, for my other ability, I'd like to get some, to get patched up, please, because I don't know how I recover from harm. And I'd like to do that because...
Okay, so the way you recover from harm is I roll the quality of your physician, who I think is quality 1. I rolled a 4. What does that mean? 2 segments. So you have a healing clock on your character sheet. You fill 2 segments of that. When that segment is filled, when that clock is filled, you reduce all of your harm by 1 level. So level 1 harm disappears, level 2 becomes level 1.
Oh. I'm going to spend another... So I've still got 2 coin in my stash from that very first adventure, which I'm considering spending again. So can I, if I spend coin on this, would I want to then do healing again, or can I just get a better result than that? Sorry, folks.
So your best bet. So you rolled a 4, which would be 6 if you, I believe.
God, the cumulative.
You're better off spending it to go again because you stand to get more. You can overclock and get more healing.
Oh, neat.
If you turn that 4 into a 6, you'll only get 1 more segment for it.
Okay,
You
I
won't
will
get anything.
spend 1 of the stash from that first. It doesn't want to remove dots in this. It just wants to reset entire windows. Okay, I would like to go for spend 1 of the coins, so I have 1 left in my stash, and we still have 1 from the group from this from this job.
Let's heal
and get healed again. God, the
I need to roll that, don't I?
Cumulative damage and stress in this game is a killer.
Yeah. Well, good news. You rolled a 6. That is 3 segments.
So I go all the way around. I remove my bruised knee, which was a 1, and my shocks goes down to a 1.
Yeah,
and I have 2 progress on the healing clock to recover from that 1.
Recover from that shock. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. In which case, then that's great. There's 1 coin left for the group. There's obviously there's the 4 coins still in the vault, and I am done. Mr. Slide is done.
Right.
For my bookkeeping, you didn't touch our heat, did you? Okay.
Nope.
Mr. Cutter, what
Karen.
downtime would you like?
Oh my god.
I'm going to guess that one of them's healing.
Yeah, I have like all of it filled up. So help. I need to heal a lot. How do I just click the healing button? Yeah. And see what it rolls. Is that how this works?
Yeah, you can do that, and you roll one die for the quality of your healer. I don't know what the quality of your healer is. I've been assuming it's 1 because you're a tier 0 organization.
I'm not sure. Wait, so I put a dice in there?
Yep.
Cool. That's
2.
a 2.
A 2 means that you I went off the page for some stupid reason. So you heal 1 segment out of the 4.
Okay, so then I roll again because I'm dying.
Yeah.
That's 4? What does that mean?
Okay. So you get 2 segments.
Okay.
Gosh.
Still dying. Spend my coin.
Take some money from the kitty.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll wipe out that coin we got for this job, and that's spent for you to go round again.
Okay. Oh my god.
Okay, and you gain 1 segment.
Okay, so it fills up that clock.
3 healing activities to fill 1 clock. That is brutal. That is some bad luck.
So then everything goes down by only 1. So still, like, the next time I get injured, I still have this -1 dice and lesser effect, right?
You can also spend reputation for extra downtime actions.
Ooh.
And you do have 11 reputation.
I say do it. We need Cutter in good condition.
This is bad.
And those other chumps ain't here, so let's spend the moolah.
Okay.
1 more reputation, then.
Okay.
One fewer reputation, then even.
Oh my god!
Good lord.
Okay, cool. Well, nice.
What is this? What is this? My downtime the first time round, or I achieved nothing?
It feels good. Feels nice. Maybe Cutter is just gonna retire early, and,
Why do
and
you
I'll
still
bring
have a level? Oh, you have a level 2 harm. Why do you have a level 2 harm still?
because my aching shoulder from last time clock wasn't filled at all.
Didn't you fill that? Didn't you just?
I had like 3 injuries
Yeah,
last
you.
time.
Everything goes down by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a level 1 harm, that should be gone. Oh, was that a level 2?
I had 4 things on there. 2 level
Yeah.
2s, 2 level 1s.
So you should now have just 2 level 1s. Because
Okay.
the level 1s drop off the bottom.
Oh, all of them, not just one?
All of them.
Oh, so then earlier I might not have had a trauma because I wildly misunderstood this, but I feel it's good for character development that it happened,
Okay.
so I'm fine. But I definitely did that super wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
So you
Cool.
should have two level 1s now.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Okay, I feel a lot better about that.
Yeah, oops. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Ooh, fuck
Um,
me.
I think because you didn't know that, I'm going to ask, if you had known that and you only had your level 1 harms, would you have spent the reputation for another healing action, or would you not have done?
No. Well, no, that
Okay.
means like I wouldn't have tried to.
Yeah.
The electrocuted door situation would have been completely different. But
No,
I'm not going to retcon the whole thing just
No.
because I'm a
I just
dumbass.
meant
Like,
in terms of this situation, if you were looking at your character sheet right now with just a level 1 harm that you've got, would you have wanted another healing action? So
It's
give
fine.
yourself back that. It's only fair. You didn't know the system. Give yourself back that reputation point.
Yay.
okay.
And Mr. Spider.
So,
It's down
actually,
by-
aside from the fact that Mr. Spider's having probably the worst day, he's doing quite well. He wasn't physically injured, and all his stress has gone away.
Yes.
He doesn't need to go and do drugs at all.
So actually,
And he's calling in sick to work.
before we move on to Mr. Spider, there's a problem with Mr. Cutter.
What happened?
Mr. Cutter, you have a level of trauma.
Yeah.
You have not indulged a vice.
Oh,
And when you have trauma and don't indulge a vice, you take stress.
Yeah, I don't want to do that though. So can I just pay the money I got from the first one and do more money and do another vice? Is that how this works?
You can spend a coin to indulge one of your vices, bearing in mind you have no stress. So you will definitely overindulge.
Oh.
Just take the stress. You
Yeah,
can
I don't know
you can
how-
undo it another time.
I
One
really don't
stress
know
is-
what's happening, so
So
Izzy,
what's
make
happened? So
this.
I've got to explain it. I don't want to dismiss this out of hand. So what this represents is that you have a trauma. To try to, if you ignore the trauma and let it fester, you're gonna, wake up in the night with nightmares. You're gonna find yourself occasionally, something might trigger you during the day, and that causes you stress. Or you can indulge your vice, and if you indulge your vice, then.
I don't have stress to spend to not do that.
But if you indulge your vice with no stress, you will overindulge. Overindulging could lead to things like getting extra heat, getting an entanglement, things like that. If you do not indulge your vice to avoid that consequence, you take one stress. You take stress equal to your level of trauma, which is 1 in this case.
So I'll take
Um,
1 stress and okay, cool.
Yeah.
I now understand. Thank you, everyone.
Nullum problemum. So, Mr. Spider, with that in mind, what are your downtime actions?
So we make our decisions based on character, not necessarily on optimization, correct?
You make your decisions based on whatever you want to make your decisions by.
I was talking to the party more than the permission of the GM.
Do you want to take some drugs and overindulge?
I don't think there is a situation in which Mr. Spider comes away from this and does not go and
That
indulge
sounds
his.
entirely reasonable, yes.
He doesn't know he's at low stress. He doesn't feel like he's at low stress.
No, I dig. It would be very weird if his reaction to this was not to go and take a whole bunch of laudanum.
Okay, so you don't need to roll for this because there's no degrees of overindulgence. You just overindulge. You get to choose your overindulgence and what happens to you. So here's the sort of suggestions it makes. You attract trouble, which gets you an entanglement. You brag about your exploits, which gets you +2 heat. You are lost. Your character vanishes for a few weeks. You play a different character until this one returns.
Holy crap.
When your character returns, they've also healed any harm they had, or you tap out. Your current purveyor cuts you off, and you'll have to find a new one.
Talk to me of these entanglements.
I will talk to you of entanglements. Entanglements are things like you get into trouble with a gang, you get arrested, you do something that provokes reprisals. You attract the notice of a demon.
I don't think I do that. But I'd like some negative Mr. Spider attention, because he's been the good one so far, and I feel like maybe he...
Something at work which is drawing attention? Like he's dropping off, he's taking sick days, he's
his work is
showing up high.
So it's interesting to know, because his work is his other obligation. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know how those two have to interact, but I think the idea of like drawing some negative attention, maybe he gets into trouble. I don't know. Do we decide this now, or should we talk about it another time?
No, we should decide it now. We're doing down.
Okay, then I would appreciate your input, because this is the universe kicking back against Mr. Spider, and you play the universe.
Well, the thing that makes the most sense to me, to be honest, is probably some sort of gang trouble, like you forget to pay your dealer, and you know.
I am an upper middle class civil servant. So yes, I think gang trouble for Mr. Spider, per favor.
Okay. I am going. The gang trouble is this: you can avoid the gang trouble if you pay 1 reputation, which is you losing face over the incident, or I will start a clock, which is the McCreary outfit taking notice and demanding tribute.
God, they suck so much.
These both reflect on the strangers rather than Mr. Spider, so I guess I'm going to spend the reputation, because I'm interested in it being a thing, but I'm not interested in it being like, oh, the McCreary's are now here. That feels too much. So, sorry, reputation.
That's okay.
So you embarrass yourself, and this will have some impact on the gentleman's strangers.
Yeah, look, if this was Mr. Spider got the shit kicked out of him, that's fine. But I'm not interested in the whole McCreary gang coming down on the whole gentleman's
The
strangers.
McCreary gang coming down on you is inevitable. The higher, the better you do, the more notice you'll
Yeah,
draw.
of course,
You
but
might
I would
not-
rather it was its own thing rather than...
You don't want it yet. I don't think. Okay, great. So you have another downtime action.
We need to get this heat down. I'm
Cool.
gonna down some heat.
So you need to get the heat down. So what you need to do with that is you need to describe an action that you do to do this, and then roll for it. And you can use coin if you like to upgrade the result of the roll.
What does heat represent? Like, it's the police?
Heat represent, yes. Heat is like negative rep with the establishment. Heat, you have heat but no wanted level. What that means is no one's saying we need to get those gentlemen strangers behind bars. What they're saying is, so the guy's disappeared, there's violence against this doctor, there's something going on. There's something going on. Can we connect this yet? What's happening? What it means is that operating in this area, because of course you're restricted to operating in your protected area, it means operating in this protected area is gaining more and more attention. And someone's going to go, this was the gentleman's strangers, we need to find them.
Can I fold this into Mr. Spider's employment? Or is that too...
Yes. That sounds like you want to do something like command, consort, or sway.
Yeah, I actually think, given the fact that a combination of his role in the civil service and the fact that he has friends in the police and information circles, mean that he is being Mr. Spider rather than like going out there and chatting with people. He is actively moving information around and like doing that thing civil servants do where they're like, oh, the disappearance rate of this part of town's pretty big. And he goes, if I just fold this information into some overarching information, then if you look at it, actually muggings are far more important. So that's what we should be focusing attention on, not one disappearing man over this and this. So
I love it. I think that's great. Plus, you're also addressing a problem with conspiracy, which is very, very correct, despite it. You roll. Sounds like you want to just do a consort.
I'd love to do a consort, if you will.
Do a consort.
I do not have a consort to do.
Oh.
Take me to the. Did it roll? No, it didn't roll. Bloody hell! Consort. Is this controlled?
It doesn't really matter. It has a fixed consequence, so it doesn't matter. Controlled standard, it may as well be.
Pair of fives.
Oh, that's 2 5.
You got a 5. Okay, so you clear 2 heat. You can upgrade to clear 3 heat.
For a coin?
For a coin.
I'd like to.
It's for a coin or a rep because we're vigilantes.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend a coin out the vault.
Yeah, it's
No,
like
not all the coins.
You can spend 2 coins to turn it critical.
What does that do?
Critical, instead of clearing 3 heat, you would clear 5.
You know what? I'm gonna do that. So give me a second. How many heat did we have? We had so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wow, Mr. Spider's very good at being Mr. Spider, it seems. He managed to make it go, disappearances in Camden, disappearances in Camden. What about the bridges? And everyone's like, what about the bridges? He's right.
Okay, any bonus downtime actions you want to pay for?
Give me a moment. No, like my initial thought was to try and, I don't want to tap us out of coin.
So just to check coin levels,
We have 2 coin levels.
2 in the lockbox, and then each of your characters has some coin from other things.
Although, can I just powwow with the rest of the strangers for a second?
Yes, although it disapproves the terminology.
Oh yeah. I apologise. Can I just conflab with the rest of the gentlemen strangers?
Yes.
No need for appropriate language, Mr. Spider. What is this, the Victorian era? We have 2 coin in the vault, which is like 50% coin, which feels to me like I'm like, oh, I've spent so much coin. But the thing I've been working on is the looking through Sydney Weller's books. If I spent another...
Yes, do it.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was approved of.
Also, we're here, they're not. Spend all that money.
Brie and I took trauma for this. We deserve it. I'd like to spend the last coin on Mr. Cutter and Mr. Spider going on holiday, pops to the Maldives.
Off to Bognor Regis with you.
Oh yeah.
You want to get on the trail, do you?
I'd like to study them books.
Okay, let me wipe out this clock here. So, I was going to do a clock for this, wasn't I?
I've got a clock. It's on my page, not the...
It's on your page. Can we move?
Yeah. You can do what you like, babe. It's your clock.
Where?
You're the clock master.
Well, but you've got no segments in it yet. Well, I'm gonna. How many segments is it? 6.
It is too many tabs. It is 6 tabs. 6 segments. 6 pieces of pizza.
Oh God, yes. Right. Okay. I'm sure I can add that clock there. 6 segments, and that is Weller's contacts. It's actually, you've got to find out where Weller's bank is first, haven't you? So yes, what are you going to do to try to...
I'm going to try and do the thing I did before, which was to study, which failed because I rolled really badly. And like, there's nothing I can advance beyond just like, once I've looked a bit more into the books, I'm going to like go out into the world and try and engage with it. But until then, I just need to know what they mean.
Okay. So yeah, roll whatever it is you're rolling to do that.
I am for deaf studying.
I don't know what happened. It's an OBS issue. I'm capturing my entire display because there's nothing else I can do. Like,
good backup plan.
Yeah. So I cut off my search bar so you can't see my.
5. I got a 5. She got a 5.
Okay, you've got a 5.
Turns out a rank of trauma makes Mr. Spider far more successful.
You have filled in 2 ticks. You're sort of reading through other stuff. You're trying to get a pattern of behavior.
Oh no, what this means is clearly Mr. Spider hit rock bottom, went off, took a lot of drugs, took more drugs than he needed to, came out on a bit of a cocaine high, got all his work done, and the books. And it's fine that there's a situation. I spent money, I spent reputation, people will be fine about it, don't worry about it. I'm fine, don't worry about it.
It's fine.
So,
Don't
the
worry
last
about
thing we have to deal with is, are you on the crew sheet?
Oh, I am.
The last thing we have to deal with is crew experience.
Hey.
Your crew-specific XP trigger is to disrupt an occult operation, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's fairly safe to say that you did that because thanks to you proving through your horrendous traumas that the experiments are not safe, they have been put on hold. So you get 1 experience there. Did you contend with challenges above your current station? Yes, you did. I can tell you that. The ghosts were a higher tier than you.
Lightning ghosts.
No thanks.
So you get experience for that. Did you bolster your crew's reputation for mysteriousness or develop a new one?
I feel like I did that.
I agree.
I would agree.
Strange is what we do, or whatever you said. There was like something exactly
Strange.
like that.
I said strange is what we do because
Strange
you're
is
the
what we do.
strangest.
Strange
Yeah,
is
it was
what
good.
we do. That's what I meant to say. I just got weird.
Did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the gentleman strangers?
I think we were gentlemen and strangers.
I think we were both gentlemen and strangers.
I believe I agree.
Everyone?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, while you certainly have, you can't afford to level up yet because of all the coin you spent.
I'm sorry, but that's fine.
How much coin does it take to level up?
That actually might not be true.
Because I've still got some in my stash, for instance.
You don't actually need to do that at all. You upgrade your tier with cash. Congratulations. You have successfully leveled up. So you clear your crew advancement and you get a special ability. It's probably something we need to do when everyone's back in the chat. I don't think it's fair for us to decide without the others. But you will get 2 crew upgrade boxes, which you can either use to save up for an advanced upgrade, which has a value of more than 1, or you can get 2 separate upgrades.
We gained 1 special ability and 2 crew upgrade.
And we'll talk about that at the beginning of next session and how you got that upgrade, what you did, what strings you had to pull to get it, and so forth and so on. So well done. You have solved this mystery and you have put a stop to the electrical experiments of the poor Mr. Kaplan, who after all was innocent.
Is it strange that I genuinely feel like this was our most successful adventure?
Just by the
Yeah.
skin of our teeth.
Despite everything, like, I feel really good about how this session went, even though Cutter and Spider are having a terrible time.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gain a special ability or 2 upgrade boxes.
Oh, okay. Well, the notes are there. You can correct that later.
Fine. Oh, and every time the crew advances, every PC gets stash equal to the crew tier plus 2. So you'll get 2 in your stash. Now, your stash, of course, is not the coin you have available. It is the...
Can you talk to me about this later? Because I've literally just closed all my
Yes.
tabs.
Yes. I won't remember, though.
Kath will remember.
But it's not your coin. It's a Kath's done it right. It's your stash. That means it's your retirement fund, essentially. It's investments you've made and savings you've got and so on and so forth. And that represents the fact that you've kind of had things growing and so forth. And later on, when you manage to reopen the Millennium Club, you might be able to retire as rich men.
excellent.
Forgiven values of men and indeed rich. So congratulations. Thank you all so much for...
I have one more thing I want to
yes,
do.
of course.
Sorry. Both probably by pigeon, or rather by our birds, by crow, by crow. As and when the theatre launches and opens,
Mhm.
Mr. Spider is going to receive a ticket to get to see the performance. It's like a decent ticket. It's not a box seat because let's not go crazy here, but it's like good seat ticket for getting to see the Tempest with Sir Arthur. Unfortunately, it's less lightningy.
We saw it. We know what it looked like, and it looked cool.
However, Cutter is probably much sooner because Spider's got to wait until the actual performance is ready. But Cutter is going to receive a ticket to something, and when I say like more popular culture, that isn't meant condescendingly. That is just like something fun down at the West End of the theatre.
Because that was said by Slide, it sounds like fun, and Slide goes, "I like fun," and that seems reasonable. If Spider says fun, he always says it like, "Sounds fun."
Yeah.
Like it probably would be like Gilbert and Sullivan sort of level of theatre. Yes, they get those tickets with Mr. Slide's compliments.
I'd like to think that on the night that Spider goes, somewhere in the boxes reserved for the theatre board is Mr. Slide going, somewhere down there is Mr. Spider, and I'll never know for sure.
Yeah, very likely.
Do you want to know something terrible? And like, I know this has no mechanical effect. I know exactly what Mr. Spider would have done, which is to have found a way through hook or by crook to have swapped his ticket for like, he's like, I shall go to the Sunday evening show, not the Saturday evening show, and given someone else's ticket because he's so paranoid. So like, you can look and like, who's in the seat? An elderly woman, Mr. Spider. This doesn't seem like
the funny thing is, Mr. Spider is not trying to even do that.
No, like he wouldn't.
Of course not. But Mr. Spider, like, I need to confess now that if Mr. Slide hadn't been there, he might have tried to get his name from Mr. Kaplan.
Mr. Slider is not as cautious as he should be about his real identity.
No. Mr. Spider is, I mean, I think it goes without saying, given that he is the Spider, is incredibly cautious. So he would definitely have been like, well, I have to make sure I'm going at a different night, and probably would have like found different clothes to wear. Like, and yes, I meant to do this. That sounds terribly fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for watching. And I hope you just have just the best time. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with Gentlemen Strangers, but in the intervening time, on Tuesday at 7 p.m. British time, you can enjoy Among Trash, where Izzy will be streaming herself playing Among Us, but the rest of us will also be there conspiring and doing all sorts of horrible things like lying to each other and murdering each other and all the sorts of things that the Gentlemen Strangers would strongly disapprove of.
These are my friends. They will not murder me, for we are friends.
Yeah.
I trust my friends. I'm gonna put my trust in my friends.
Like, I literally had to say to Izzy the other night, we just have to agree that we're allowed to kill each other.
No.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
You're my buddies.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get the list of patrons. I'm so sorry. But thank you to everyone who's been lurking and chatting. It's hugely appreciated. If you would like to join our Discord, please do. There's a way to do that.
I never know how it is though.
There's an invite link. It's been open forever, and it was up on our Twitter.
Look, but I know some people can say like.
I believe anyone can invite. Anyone who's on the Discord can invite people. Where there's plenty of chatting going on, and please do apply for places in Izzy's wonderful trash podcasts.
And in the meantime, friends and loved ones, trash bags in the chat, please, for this group of lovely individuals who support us at patreon.com/ityoukrew.
Become one of them. They are amazing people.
They are. To a single one of them, amazing people. So please send these amazing fuckos your love. Look, I express my love differently to everyone else. To Photosynthetic, Eligos Alexander, Liz Murphy, Michael Crees, Andre Cherepnin, Lucas Justinian, Joe, Joanna Marsh, Diego de los Reyes, Dr. Lou Sutcliffe, Haraloki, Socky, Henry Prestige, Caffeine Kitty, Mike Kiel. Actually, it's quite funny because the column cuts off most of the names, but I know them, so I can just say them. It says Mike Kilb. So Mike Kilb.
Mike Kilb, yeah.
Amy C, James Muffy Malloy, Mike Fielding, Michael Bowman, and of course, everybody's most famous, enigmatically named trash fam member, who I like to think is somewhere in Victorian London, just completely avoiding the work of the Gentlemen Strangers, probably working in vaudeville, Helena Handbasket.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, so thank you to all of those people. Thank you to all of you people, some of whom are probably the same. And we will see you hopefully on Tuesday for some treachery and betrayal. You will see many of the Trash crew, many of the Iskander crew, and a few others besides from the Trash fam. So I hope you enjoy that. And other than that, we'll be back here 2 weeks from now with more Gentlemen Strangers. So take care, look after yourselves. Out.